We did it, boys. We're like on cameras and whatnot, and smoke streams and orgies. Hey, what's up? My name is Wrath from WRATHINSPIRED. You are joining us live on season 1, episode 2 of Traveler. So this is a new TTRPG show that we've got on my channel. What's up? Airing on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, whatever that is, wherever you live. Congratulations, that's what time it is at. Hopefully you guys are excited. I'm excited. If you missed last week's episode, well, you can find it on YouTube. What's up? We got a YouTube? Yeah, we do. If you're watching this on YouTube, you either just came from it or just go back one to rewind. Hey, so, I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Pickles to kind of introduce us and bring us into the game, and then the rest of us will introduce ourselves and who we are and what we're playing and whatnot. But Mr. Pickles, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend again, twice over. Mr. Pickles, take it away.
I'm Mr. Pickles. Hopefully you can hear me. You know what, Wrath? Just double check. Can people?
They can hear you this time. They can.
Okay.
It is. That was
Excellent.
so funny. If you guys missed it last week, I edited it. Oh, I clipped my video shorter and took out the entire first like 10 minutes of the segment because everybody else was muted and we all just sat here awkwardly for like 10 minutes listening to Mr. Pickles talk, and there was no audio. And then like I responded every once in a while with like little bits, but it was really cringy. So anyways, Mr. Pickles.
Yeah, we're gonna do better this episode because you all can hear me. So previously on Traveler, we had our group of heroes, not including Wolfie quite yet, who will come up in our story. We had all of our heroes going to the far reaches of space to an Imperium space station where they're more or less finding their new trade in life or what they want to do with their life, having left their previous careers far, far behind, hopefully. So our group found this drunkard because of all the people in a bar and a space station, the group went for the drunkard rather than the military officer. It's fun. We have employment, and it's pretty darn good employment. And that led our players, who I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a moment, to the ship of this unnamed noble, because I don't recall anybody ever asking for things like names or anything more credits. It's all good. You guys have like some social standing problems, and it's fine. It's fine to not know social graces like needing names or whatnot. It's all good. So you guys went onto his spaceship, which was a very small but really luxuriant yacht spaceship, which essentially has very, very plush rooms and not a lot of defenses. It's just what you fly around in safe space, which I'm thinking, no, this probably isn't the wisest place to have such a ship. But we're going to go to the two members that joined this crew and the one existing member of the crew. We'll start with Wrath, then we'll go to BVG, and then we'll go to Wolf. Wrath?
Hey, so I've kind of already introduced myself. I am Wrath. What's up? I am playing as Freya. I don't know why I said it like that. That's not her voice, but that'd be weird if it was. I'm playing as Freya. She is a fiery young spunk. She comes from a darker past, and struck some low points in life. But she's bouncing back. She's traveled out to the outer rim of the solar system to try and renew herself and start a new life for herself. She wields a blade on her back as her only weapon. And it turns out that she is actually quite an adept pilot, and she has now taken on the role of pilot on their new mission aboard the yacht ship. Along with her traveling is BVG Wing.
So I'm BVG Wing. I'm playing Okami, a Barger army vet who got tired of the military and decided that he was going to try and find what else life had in store for him. He's trained as a medic. He has a kind of an asshole personality. He likes to, make wisecrack jokes, but he's all in all a good guy. I'm going to pass it off to, I guess, Wolf or Pickles. I don't know who's going next.
We're going to Wolf, who's part of the existing crew, but we'll clarify the crew status in a moment. I'm just tossing over to Wolf to describe your character, who you are, all that fun stuff.
So my character's name is Luther, and he was born into a high populated and poor world. He started out as a scavenger, but was betrayed and then made life as a pirate until he joined the crew. I don't know what to say.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, it's as long as you want it to be. And I kind of wanted to note to you guys before I describe what all everybody's positions here on the ship are. I mean, with Traveler, you are not a class or a career anymore. You are whatever you want to make yourself, and your skills back you up on those assertions. So you can describe yourself more or less however you're appearing to people in these intros. But so you guys may have discerned it last game, but the crew from the Noble's ship had completely left him at this space station that you guys were at, all except for one crew member, and that's why the Noble was in the bar, drinking and lamenting his lack of ability to fly away from this place now. And he was offering you guys a job to fly him to a planet that his parents maybe own. I don't know. Nobody ever talked to him about that, and it's not necessary. All you guys know is that he's flying towards a snowy planet. If you're looking at the Roll20 right now, it's the big white circle, the expertly made circle there. It's white. That's your snowball planet. And I believe Freya had even kind of planned in a special, she had changed kind of how the flight patterns were going to go. So you guys were going to save fuel, kind of going down onto that planet. And you guys have been flying for a little bit when Luther has finally woken up and realized that you guys are flying about, that the noble you work for, Michael von Doofen, has apparently gotten people to fly the ship again. Luther, of course, knows why everybody left. And it's because your captain is absolutely unstable, flighty, and makes terrible, terrible choices. I'm going to type it in the chat in case you guys didn't hear Noble's name. From your interactions with him over the past few months, he's been utterly unstable, going on binge drinking episodes and changing plans mid-flight. And it's at about this point that you guys have all, Freya and Okami were on kind of the pilot deck. Michael just left, though you don't have his name. I'm going to refer to him as such. And it's at this point, the crew member, Luther, steps onto the bridge. You guys can all see each other, but you're not familiar.
Hello?
Freya, well, she's at the piloting wheel. She'll kind of turn around and look, and she'll be like, how the devil did you get on?
I work here. I sleep here. I'm part of the crew.
Well, that's news to us.
Okami, did
Did you steal this ship? Did you steal this ship?
Yes, we stole the ship.
We stole the ship. We're pirates. And
don't we look like pirates? Could you not tell just from looking at us?
No, I served with many pirates in my day, and you do not look like any I've seen.
Should we be insulted?
Yes. You guys look lower than dirty pirates to him. But in his defense, he looks significantly more higher standard, sociable than you. In fact, he looks like maybe he came from a richer family as well.
Freya will stand up and walk towards him, kind of putting in her fingers and kind of doing the walking him up his chest, and then she'll grab him by the throat and be like, how did you get on this ship? You really work for the man, you really work for the owner.
Sadly, yes.
Were you a stowaway? I'm not talking to you, Pickles.
Okay, sorry, sir.
I've worked for him for a few months now. Joke bastard.
I'm sorry, Pickles. If you need to talk, you can.
No, it's all good. I was just going to ask if Luther wanted to resist this throat touching, but you guys were going ahead, so go ahead. Seems like it's not a big deal.
She's not like choking him out. She's kind of like turning his head, kind of examining him. She's like, Okami. Check with the. Oh wait, no, I have comms. Never mind. I just want to page over the comms. I'll be like, oh, Captain, my captain. Seems we found a stowaway in the cockpit here. Should we space him?
You send a comm call over, presumably like the intercom system on the ship, and you know that he can't really respond. You didn't see any comms device on him like the one that you're holding, given to you by Okami.
I'll take that silence as a yes. No, I'm just kidding.
He's probably coming to where you guys are right now. You don't really know for sure. He could be fast asleep.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
Since Wrath is able to patch into the ship's intercom with his handheld comm device, can I also do that with my neural one?
Correct. I presume that you guys have spent at least enough time and you have access to the ship's information that you can easily connect your devices.
Easily.
All right. Yeah, that was something I was wondering even before this game started, but figured I'd ask.
You both have comms 0 or higher, so you're good for that. Luther, however, would require some help.
I'll let go of his face, obviously, and then be like, grab a seat. We'll wait this one out. We got plenty of time. Nowhere
So I
to
sit
go.
next to.
You have approximately 2 hours until you reach the planet.
We have not as much time as I thought.
I sit next to Freya.
However, it takes only a few minutes before the noble stumbles into the bridge area, looking at you guys rather annoyed. Says, "Where are we going?"
To your bloody home planet, damn it.
You forget again.
Oh, I didn't forget. No. I was thinking that we should change up our flight pattern. Freya, can you fly us to was that the garden planet? Past the gas giant, past that dead planet, the garden one. Can you get us there?
Well, hang on. Whoa.
I'm pinging it on the map if you're curious. If not, you know more or less how to route that, but it would take an annoying amount of time.
That's a significantly further distance. And with more distance comes more pay, correct?
He looks at you. I mean, if we see combat, we see combat. It's, I would imagine you guys would love to go out to this planet. Have you heard about it? I mean, they have. The locals are all receptive to outsiders, I've heard, and
Love it or not, love doesn't put food on my table. So you paid for us to go from point A to a point B, but now you want to go what? C, D, E? You want to go point E? You're racking on miles. You're racking on money.
While Freya is doing this, Okami is going to draw his dagger and just start like flipping it in the air and catching it by the handle.
For Freya, roll me a social standing persuade.
I'm so ready.
Get some dice. For people who don't know the system, it's a 2d6 system, so any dice rolls are 2d6 plus your characteristic or minus your characteristic in this case, and then plus any bonuses.
No modifiers, correct?
You have a social standing penalty, so yes.
Well, yeah.
Or no, yeah, no other modifiers. Okay. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
8.
8, and 8 is the success number. He looks at you and says, I mean, I'm gonna pay you. That was never in question. This is a better planet. We're going to be getting more things. We can go down there. We can visit the locals. They will literally put food on your table, I've heard. Who knows? I've heard all sorts of good things. I was talking to a merchant about how they were coming back from there. It's all sorts of fun. And, visiting my parents isn't going to be fun at all.
Can I do, standby. Can I do astrogation to figure out exactly how much further it is?
Go ahead, Luther.
I jump in and I'm like, Michael, these men are more than likely going to kill you if you don't pay them a decent amount. And I don't know how much you pay them already, but I would up it since we're going a fair bit further than you agreed to.
I turn and look at him. I'm like, I like this kid.
Of course, Luther knows that he is an incredibly generous with pay. However, it's that he's a lot of people didn't like his style of management, despite that heavy pay. Let's see. And just based on what you have for astrogation, you're not going to roll for that. You know that it would be about 8 more hours.
Holy shit, this ship is fast as fuck.
So that would be 16 extra hours round trip. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, roughly close to that.
Not to mention how much time we have to spend there. 5K extra.
5K extra, he says, looking at you, stroking his chin. Roll
No
your
extra
persuade
bonus.
again.
No extra bonus on combat. We'll keep the original, but 5K extra is a security for the time and money.
All right. He says, no. How about 2K? 2K each. That's enough that you could sail away after this and have a jolly good time on a mid-world planet without me. You know, you wouldn't even have to be my crew anymore. Just for going on vacation with me.
This is 2K
Hold
in
on.
addition to what we already signed for.
Of course.
How much are you paying them, Michael?
Like 10K, 20 if we see combat, you know, whatever. What are you gonna be my accountant too? Are you gonna get all up in my finances and say I'm spending money wildly? Yeah,
no,
we
I'm
left him
to
at
say that you're only paying me 5K. I don't know if I wanna.
I wanna butt in. I'll be like, we'll accept that 2K bonus, and we'll take you to that planet. As for the kid, that's between you and him. She spins around and mans the ship again to plug in the new coordinates.
All right, roll an astrogation check for me. Intelligence astrogation. Michael von Doofen turns to Luther and says, I mean, yeah, I'll give you same pay, whatever.
I got an 11 on my roll.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
You find a nice way to very cleanly move around the gas giant that's directly in your path here. And you should be getting there in about 6 hours, actually.
I'll plug in the coordinates, and then while they're discussing, I'll just kind of lean over my shoulder and be like, just because you are paying us that extra bonus, I cut you 2 hours off your travel time, save you some gas.
He shrugs, not seeming to really care too much about that. And after accepting the raise increase for Luther, he kind of makes his way out of the bridge unless somebody wants to directly stop him. He's just kind of walking at a casual pace of, I really would like a snack.
Nope, I'm good.
So
Kick my feet up on the dash and kind of lean back, hands behind my head. Probably plug in some, we have music, right?
Of course.
Oh yeah, I'm plugging some headphones, 'cause that's still a thing in the year 20 million.
Hey, this is party ship.
20
Why
million
don't you just? This is a party ship. Why don't you just blast it through the comm system?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, at the very least, you have pretty darn good immersive speakers within your bridge area.
Yeah, let's boost that. Yeah, so she'll just kick her feet back, boost the tunes in the cockpit. Only in the cockpit, because she doesn't want to bug the rest of the ship, you know.
Of course, a respectful pirate.
They can choose a respectful pirate. They can choose to leave the cockpit if they want, and she'll chill. Do I need to roll piloting or anything for this?
No, sirree. So you're just listening to music, chilling out for a while. BVG, what would you like to be doing during this time?
I'm gonna sheath my dagger that I've been playing with for attempted intimidation purposes. And
You scared me.
I'm just gonna pull up a seat at the sensors, because I have sensor skills.
All right.
Kind of peruse the scanners and make sure that there's nothing incoming, and just kind of enjoy the music that Freya has on.
All right, I'm gonna roll sensors for you, and I should note there will be some rolls that I'll roll for you guys. That's just so who knows what happens. You know, you might be sleeping on the job, you might not. It's all good. But I do take note of the skills you guys use, because I use that to note you guys getting experience points in various skills. So the more you use a skill, the more likely it will increase. And let's jump over to Wolf. What would you like to be doing during this 6 hour time?
So I sit down next, like right away, I sit down next to Freya, and I ask her what her name is.
Oh.
She looks stoned. You can call me Hawk Boy. Not Hawk Boy, but Hawk.
Wait,
I'm Hawk Boy!
You can call me Hawk Boy! I know I'm a female. Don't worry about it.
So wait, how old are you?
Why is that your concern? Who are you to ask a woman how old she is?
Because
Your parents ever teach you
I'm
any
pretty
manners?
sure you don't look that much older than me. If
True.
even that.
That's very true.
It is very true.
So
Okami is going to look at Freya and go, "You wanted the bartender, why not the boy?"
Oh.
she'll look to a comment. You keep out of this.
I don't appreciate being called boy. I've worked on this crew for 4 months now.
Would you prefer girl? I mean, that's a compliment, right?
It isn't.
Hey, fuck off, narrator. I'm a female. Don't be right. Don't be whatever I am, sexist.
Let's not invoke that name here, Wrath.
Pretty boy face like that, might as well call him a girl.
That's coming from a dog.
But tell me, Luther,
Luther.
and let me give you some advice.
I'm sorry.
As
What
soon
was
as
that? You're gonna give me some advice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this will be
As soon
good.
as soon as you finish this job, get off this ship, and don't ever come back.
Oh.
Is that advice or a threat?
No, that's advice. This man is a drunk fool. He pays well, but he is the dumbest person I've ever met.
Sounds like an easy score to me, right, Okami?
Easy money, easy work. Sounds good to me. I don't care if he's an idiot.
He will get you killed.
I've had a
I'd
lot.
like to see
I've
him
had a lot
try.
more people than him try and kill me.
He's not gonna do it on purpose. He's just gonna tell you to do something that's not tactically advantageous, and then if you don't do it, he'll get angry and throw a fit because he's a drunk fool. I don't know what to think of that. I don't
Damn,
know.
well enough.
I noticed that you.
Let's just do this mission and let's see how it goes. Cause
Did he hire you
maybe
drunk?
I'm not ready to give up this ship yet.
Did he hire you drunk?
Well, of course.
From what I've seen, that man is always drunk.
Now that's a way to
But,
live.
like, wasted
see? You
drunk.
should be taking some tips from
Because-
him.
I have never seen him pay 10,000 to anyone. Ever.
Well, then you should see what he pays us if we see combat.
That's why I asked him for the same rate.
And you should see what he pays us if he doesn't pay us. We'll be taking this ship.
I mean,
I like you guys.
don't.
Coming from the supposed good boy army vet.
I know. I'm sitting here. I was like, aren't you like the good guy?
There's a reason he got kicked out the first time from the military.
Because
First,
my
he
commanding
did the
officer
right-
was a dick.
Yeah,
I
he
did
the right
nothing
thing.
wrong.
He didn't side. He sided with the military and went the good boy route.
Oh yeah, actually he did. You're right.
But remember, my character is kind of a jackass and likes to make smart-ass remarks, so it just doesn't always come off that way because of his personality.
For Wolfie or Luther, did you want to have your character do anything else here? Does Luther do anything else, or is he mostly trying to press Freya and Okami for details for the majority of this flight?
Let me check my things. Is there anything I can do for skills wise?
For the most part, not really. Life on this yacht is a very lazy one. If you had books or anything, you could read those. You could practice any of the skills you already have, more or less, or you can relax and try and conserve energy. Not that you really need to.
Is there any way I can practice writing?
Absolutely. You have plenty of writing utensils within your cabin.
Okay. So what do I need to do for that?
Nothing at all. I just in this case of downtime, I give you guys experience ticks for more or less kind of what you're doing, so that you're progressively building on something. You don't have to roll here. In this case, you're just casually writing, casually doing sensors, listening to music, all that fun stuff. So after the time has kind of elapsed, you guys have flown past the gas giant. You guys have gone past the dead planet. You finally come within range to launch off from a shuttle onto the garden planet. And this is your primary job Luther, was you had the ability to operate the shuttles pretty effectively, and that's mostly what he had you doing, I presume.
Okay.
So it's at this point that Freya, of course, you've gotten to a point where you're stable. You're not like going to crash down onto the planet or anything. You can see it. It is a very, very beautiful planet, much like our own planet Earth here, though it's very, very blue. Well, not much like our own. But anyways, off of colors, I presume you guys want to get all up into the shuttle and launch down to the planet, or do you want to do anything particular before you go down?
Before we go down, I would like to walk into my cabin and grab my Gauss pistol and my cutlass.
All right.
Just so that I'm equipped for anything that may come to pass.
Can
Did
I
you
also
wanna-
grab my gear?
Oh, of course. For the most part, you guys don't have much that'll weigh you down. I presume you leave your spare clothes in your cabin. Any like hobby stuff probably in your cabin. But a good question here would be, do you want to be wearing your combat armor, Okami?
Yes. I'm going to be wearing my combat armor.
All right. And so note that does give you a -2 on all skill checks while wearing it.
Okay.
Since you're untrained at the moment. But as I said, the only way to get trained is to use it. So.
Yeah.
All right, Wolf or Luther, did you want to do anything before you guys get into the shuttle?
Me? No, not really.
All right, so I presume that you're taking the helm of the shuttle to pilot it.
Of course.
And let's jump over to Wrath as Freya. Freya, does Freya do anything in particular before you're on the shuttle?
Freya waits for them to leave in the drop pod and then flies the ship away. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine that? I just leave. I'll be like, oh, yay!
I'd just say social standing and deception to pull that little heist off, and then we're done.
Oh, no, we're alright. It would be 1 score to steal the ship, and it's not even that great of a ship. It's a yacht, not like a super stealth mega ship. And she'd only get 1 score out of it, where she could just keep pawning this guy out of his money. So, she'll grab her blade off the dash and kind of twirl it and slide it into a sheath on her back. I'm guessing she could be equipped with, and
you have your choice of sheath.
I want it to be a unicorn horn. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, she slides it into a sheath on her back, and she'll join them on the pod with bubblegum in her mouth.
You don't happen to find any bubblegum on this ship, though you try certainly very hard. You find a pack of coffee creamer and some sugars, of course.
It's not quite the same.
And all of those illegal drugs that the guy had that I noticed when we first got boarded the ship.
Very, very much. However, they seem to mostly be in his cabin, which has the door open. Like, that's... Oh, my gosh. Come on,
Speaking
Captain.
of which,
This guy.
Captain
Pickles.
stumbles towards you guys as well. And you want to interrupt, Okami?
Question, not me saying anything as character, but since I have the medical background and I can tell that they're all illegal drugs, I would like to know what they are. Since I can tell that they're illegal, I should be able to tell what exactly they are.
Absolutely. And for this level, we're going to have you roll education and medic. Obviously, any obvious knowledge I'll give you. This is just for if there's anything like, I don't know, weird.
Okay.
Really specific. I don't know. Let's see what he's got in his stash here.
Mr. Pickles,
Medic
Yeah, Wolf.
do I know if he can actually afford to pay us or not?
roll.
Like, if he
Oh,
has enough-
absolutely he can. His family is so absurdly rich.
Okay.
Money is kind of a joke to him.
So since this is going to be a weird question,
Okay.
since technically I noticed them before I was wearing my combat armor.
Oh yeah. You can roll like I presume you probably spent some time going around the ship, so you noticed it and you were more than able to look around.
So I don't have to put in the -2 modifier of the combat armor.
No, you don't need that for this case because you were
Okay.
already kind of. We'll presume you're in your combat armor and you're thinking and.
Fail.
It was definitely a lot of alcohol, which isn't illegal, but the stimulants he had were definitely definitely in the illegal category unless he had prescriptions, which you're guessing this guy did not have any prescriptions for those, and especially for that, like, much of it.
All right.
All right, and so you guys are all in the shuttle. Michael finally makes his way into the shuttle, clutching a bottle of amber fluid. He looks at you guys and he says, "Are you guys ready? Are you ready for this? Are you ready to party?"
I just kind of put my head into my hands.
Right, smirks.
I'm gonna ask him what's in the bottle.
It's alcohol. It's always alcohol.
He looks at the bottle and he says, "Well, I hope the shuttle driver's correct." Because that's what I was hoping to grab.
Well, I was hoping more you'd say whiskey.
Might be whiskey, might be rum. We'll do the job though. Let's go down to the planet. I heard that the people here are crazy and that they love people like us, outsiders. They love us.
Freya will turn to Okami and be like, "I thought you playing around with the sensors. Scan the planet?"
Oh, that's a good point. Okami didn't find anything particularly dangerous in his scans. It seems like there's a lot of wildlife here, but there's no starships or anything waiting to ambush you. No particular dangers in the atmosphere. You guys should be able to breathe pretty darn fine.
I don't have to roll a scan for that.
I rolled your sensor scan for you already.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you did.
Temperatures are fine. You guys won't need any special protection or anything. It's more or less pretty darn close to Earth, maybe a little bit warmer.
My next question is, Okami, did you share any of that with the crew? Or with me when I just asked?
When you asked, I told you what I found, but not before.
Okay. Yep.
All right, so everybody in this shuttle knows what's going on. Michael looks at Okami and says, "Yeah, that's good. That's good things. We're gonna have fun then, right?"
You're gonna have fun. We're gonna be working.
And probably killing someone that you took off.
He laughs particularly heavily at that, knowing that there was probably an instance that had happened, probably. But it's up to you, Luther. Whenever you'd like to launch the ship, give me a pilot small craft and make the characteristic for that. Let's see, the characteristic is small craft dexterity. I don't know if that's actually correct. Oh yes, this might be your first roll here. We have some first-time players, guys, in the audience. A big shout out to our audience. Anybody who's here.
Dexterity?
No modifier, just it should be. I'm flying over to your character sheet right now. Pilot. If you change it to dexterity there, and now you should be able to roll it by clicking on the roll small craft. Looks like a bunch of asterisks.
I'm sorry, you said click this dexterity?
Yeah, I changed your pilot over to dexterity. And if you go to your skill page and scroll down, you can roll your skills. And each skill should have like a characteristic that you can change. Since this system, you can use a lot of your skills in different ways.
Okay. So I'm just gonna.
All right, jumping back over there. See, that looks perfect. All right, so you guys blast off from the yacht, flying down into the atmosphere. It's a little bit of a bumpy ride, but you guys make it there in one piece. There wasn't any significantly like dangerous winds throwing you guys around. Nobody launching missiles at you, which sensors should have picked that up if there were, but there aren't, so they didn't get picked up. You guys fly down into the atmosphere of the planet. You could definitely see a lot of really strange. You want to say they're mountains at first, but as you kind of get more into the planetary atmosphere and get closer to the Earth itself, you can see that there are these massive hives, like a beehive almost, but in almost a volcano shape, like an anthill made out of beehives, pretty much. And these kind of dot the landscape of an otherwise rather beautiful, lush, foresty planet with expansive oceans and massive lakes. Let's just jump over our map a little bit. because the most convenient area appears to be a small settlement that you guys can see, and Michael's kind of over near Luther, pointing out, oh yeah, right over there. That looks great. That looks like this. Can everybody see this little hamlet?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
There, right north of this hamlet, there's a very, very obviously paved area that looks like Imperium troops kind of came in here and have already paved an area so that ships can land reasonably on this planet. And that's where you guys are very easily able to land. As you guys are coming down, you can see tons and tons of people. And from a distance, they look almost blob-like. But as you kind of land and get close to the landing, you can see that they are much like the guy on the Imperium space station. They're watery-looking humans, vaguely translucent, and having no like obvious features. You guys have successfully landed your shuttle, and you can see the crowds of people coming up to greet you.
Okami.
Of course, Luther's in control of the doors to open it.
Oh,
Okami is gonna just kind
I
of.
open them.
Okami is gonna go, great, not these people again.
As Luther opens the doors, you can hear their cheering, the absolute glee and joy in their voices. The woo, yeah, outsiders, just screaming and screaming. And they've kind of surrounded your shuttle or approached it. You can see the crowd of excited faces and happy people. And Michael von Duffen definitely takes this to his ego quite terribly, as he takes a big swig from his glass bottle of amber fluid and strides out into the crowd with his arms stretched out like, welcome! He screams to them, and they scream back in joy, even though that didn't really make any sense. What is he welcoming to? What would you guys like to do as he soaks up the love of the crowd?
I skip and go about the town, without trying to get them to anyone following me. Well, except for Freya and Kyrie, they can follow me, but not through massive crowds of people.
All right, let me do a little secret roll for that. And Wrath, did you want to do anything? I'll get to BVG in just a second.
Go BVG first.
BVG, what would you like to do while Wrath's thinking?
I'm going to kind of stick with Luther and try to avoid the massive crowd of people and just get off the ship and into the hamlet.
All right, sounds good. And Wrath?
I wasn't thinking, I just want to be the last one off the ship. So as everybody pulls out of the ship, Freya will walk up to the doors and kind of lean sideways, put her shoulder up against the door. You can see me, right, Pickles?
Yes.
We can't see you. Okay. So I was like, do I need to go and describe all this? You're just kind of leaning sideways against the door, kind of, over perception over the whole. I know there's no perception, but scanning the crowd and the town and everything.
All right, that definitely works. Luther is more than able to kind of slink out of the ship because Michael is taking all of the attention of the people, and it seems that they're bringing gifts to him, various trinkets, bits of fruit, other handmade items. Everybody seems to have something, and they're trying to push it onto both Michael and onto Okami. Just little things, baubles, potions, who knows what they are. It just seems like all sorts of things kind of flowing over onto you, little coins made from carved wood.
Isn't Okami trying to help follow me, sneak away as well? That's what I said.
That's what I was trying to do, but I guess since I'm a giant walking wolf man, Rocket Wolf, that's what I'm calling myself instead of Rocket Raccoon, Rocket Wolf.
Is he giant? I thought he was about the size of the raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I believe they're just slightly shorter than humans, but it's because you were near Michael that you got kind of the crowd absorbed into both of you guys, and they've kind of pulled around you guys, though they're not getting on the ship itself, and you notice that none of them actually touches the ship. But all these watery people are surrounding you guys and cheering. and Michael's making his way forward, heading towards the hamlet. So the crowd's kind of surrounding you guys, and as it moves forward, Luther's more than able to slink around and walk around the crowd without attracting too much attention. And Freya, of course, standing back, can see this crowd kind of moving away from the ship and the fact that nobody is touching the ship. Would you guys like to continue the progression of the description, or did anybody want to change action or act in a different way?
Yeah, Freya will jump off the ship and kind of follow behind the crowd, but follow in towards the hamlet.
So you said that they're trying to shove things into our hands, into our face. One of them that you mentioned was potions.
Indeed. There's several of them that seem to have these little... I want to say they're glass bottles, but they're so warped and strangely shaped that they're the most handmade potion bottles you could ever imagine. Each of them is filled with different colored fluids. Yeah, who knows? Can
I roll a medic check to potentially tell what they are?
Yes. Use intelligence with your medic check, since you wouldn't have necessarily read about this planet yet.
I gotta find a place to get a drink.
Finding a place to get a drink. Excellent.
And now I have to use my -2 modifier from the...
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Actually, wait. This is a... Oh, well, you succeeded anyways. But
yeah, I succeeded anyway. I'll take it.
Let me just double check really quick, because I'm a little bit of a stickler for rules, and I just want to make sure I'm not like giving you a penalty. All actions taken in armor. Because that doesn't really make sense that your like mental knowledge would take any penalty, like being able to identify something with what you know. So I'm gonna say that even though it says all actions taken in armor get a penalty, I'm gonna say that like knowledge and stuff won't take any penalty. Maybe perception, but not knowledge.
Okay.
In this case, it's difficult to tell, but it's likely there are a lot of different forms of tea. There's probability that some of the vials are filled with like animal blood of some kind. It's difficult to tell without actually opening them up, but you would presume that most of them are probably consumable in a healthy way, at least for these people.
At least for these people, that being the key words there.
Yeah, definitely. You could test it further if you had a lab set, you know. But...
I try to get a Kami's attention because I saw that she was trying to sneak by with me, and I try to get her like wave her over without getting a chance to the crowd.
Him
over.
So Luther kind of Luther makes it out of the ship, kind of sneaks around, is going through like the grasslands and kind of walking and thinking about finding a place to drink, and then he heads back and is trying to signal Okami out of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Okami, do you want to roll to see if you're able to kind of get it out of the crowd without people like really noticing beyond the fact that they'll see you?
Sure, just tell me what I'm rolling.
Good question. Let's just use I know this isn't probably the best skill, but stealth with stealth and social standing. That's the best idea I got here. If you guys have a better idea, of course, let me know on these things.
Nothing's better than the pickles. Roll it, boy.
I don't have stealth, so let me throw that in my skill things there. And
remember that if you don't have Jack of all trades and the skill is untrained, it's a -3.
Yep, which I don't, so I think this is all right. Hopefully.
Should be able
to... What am I using again?
Social standing and stealth.
Oh, I'm fucked. -3, -3, -2. 3, -3. All right, I'm screwed. I do that.
As much as you try, you're not able to like escape the crowd, and people still keep pushing, and you can kind of feel their weird, gross, watery flesh on your own fur, which doesn't leave your fur very wet, but does leave kind of like a moisture, like a really sweaty person just rubbed against you. These people seem.
Can I try pulling him out of the crowd? Like going over there and like pulling him out?
You think you probably could, but there'd be a high chance that you'd also be absorbed by this crowd. And it looks like they're making their way to the town square anyways. Let's jump over to Freya, because I want to know what Freya is. Are you still just following behind them?
Yeah, I followed the crowd into town.
Okay.
I guess I'm probably well on my way into town by now.
You can see that. You can see Luther trying to kind of signal to Okami to get out of the crowd, and Okami trying to get out, and people
Failing.
cheering him on even more.
Just kind of chuckled to myself at them, like, what the fuck? And,
You can see more people like running out of their houses, pulling items and out of their pockets and whatnot, of trying to join this crowd and give their gifts to the outsiders.
I'll just strut behind the crowd and just walk into town.
All right. There are some people though in this settlement that don't seem to be actually trying to join the crowd at all. The only people who can really see this are Luther and Freya. There's about 4 of these watery people you can kind of see glimpses of on the south side of town over here. And as you guys enter the town square, you can see them walking away from the group. They look like what you would imagine punks of a watery nature would look like. They don't seem very friendly. They have kind of intimidating postures towards you guys, and then they're kind of leaving as you guys enter, making them look a little bit just slightly different from the cheery nature of these other beings.
I'm sorry, but where exactly are we? I'm kind of lost on the map.
Oh, let me get your tiles actually over here, or your tokens.
Tokens aren't actually on it.
My bad. And this is why we have tokens, so that we can kind of
See where we're at.
Where are you guys? There we are. You were on the yacht still. My bad, guys. And we're jumping over, making flying sounds with Mr. Pickles. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Let's see.
Like the grass, like the backyard.
I didn't use your new mini yet.
It's okay.
Oh, we'll get that in next game.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're actually you could be next to Wrath over here if you'd like, or you can be out in the grassy areas. It's your choice.
I think I'm in the grassy areas.
Okay. And at this point, Okami's kind of been pushed into the crowd, and everybody's just still cheering. They haven't really said. Michael hasn't really said anything, as far as you can tell. They're just people throwing stuff at him. And then emerging from this very large house here, I'm pinging it on the map. I'm going to ping it a few times so you guys can see what I'm talking about as I'm saying. There appears a very old-looking watery creature with a beard made from like what looks like sea foam. It just kind of is frothing around at his face. He walks out very, very staggeringly with a cane made of wood, and he walks out and says, "Greetings, travelers! Thank you for coming to our planet. We seek the protection you have brought, and we will give you a mighty celebration to celebrate the protection you bring us, oh mighty travelers." He raises up his arms, the last part, trying to make a big waving motion. Yes, everybody can hear him. He has kind of a vibrating voice that echoes throughout the entire town. All of the people also kind of went immediately quiet upon hearing his voice.
So can I walk up to Freya and ask her, like, what is he talking about? What do you mean protection?
Yes, you're walking towards her as the man continues on. "We seek your protection or your armaments of destruction, fine travelers. We will give you refuge for being with us and protecting us from the spawn of all that is evil." At this point, Luther has approached Freya and is able to talk to him.
What is he talking about? Do we get paid? Are we getting paid to protect this village?
She'll turn to Luther and be like, "You're asking me? I thought you were his crew."
I thought you just got hired by him. You know more about what we're doing than I do. I didn't even know where we were going until a few hours ago. He never tells us anything.
We got paid to deliver him this planet, deliver him back. A glorified, bona fide chauffeur. Now, if I need to slay some bodies and kill some fools, maybe have sex with a few people, I get paid double. I'll take it. That's not bad. At that, she'll strut forward into the town.
All
I
right.
follow Freya.
would Okami like to do anything real quick before I continue?
We'll still stay at the edge of the crowd, by the way, please.
Good to know. Looks like you're.
To talk, but he's not doing very good at it.
I didn't hear anything you said, Okami. If you were talking,
Trying.
it's okay. Well, you don't look muted on my end.
Trying to talk to somebody. I don't know. Trying to talk to us.
His mic's not down. It's just.
But, yeah, it looks like it's up.
Hey, BVG, your mic's up.
Either that or he's talking to somebody, which is all good.
Maybe he's talking to somebody else. We're just being annoying this whole time.
Oh, we're getting an answer. The entire crowd's just like jumping around in excitement.
Like interrupting his phone call this whole time.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're doing, and that's why the crowd is so excited and still excited, and
becoming more excited.
They're just on the edge of their seat after their elder has made this.
On the edge of their seat, waiting for this message.
Okami's voice is drowned out in the crowd as Michael, put on the spot, says, "Of course, absolutely, we'll help you. We'll do whatever you need. You know, we're just here as glorious travelers. You know, to whatever you need. You know." I'm sure my crew can destroy any ultimate evil you have on this planet of yours. The elder's eyes just light up with absolute joy, and you can see all of the people looking so thoroughly excited and pleased with the response that they are going to be protected from this ultimate destructor of their lives. And the crowd now. Oh, I can hear you now.
Yep.
Hey, I don't know why the fuck my mouth or my mic just freaked out, but
Fred, you want to get a drink before we have to kill whatever this great evil is?
I can't move me. I'm not there. I moved in.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm moving you guys there. You guys are still at the edge of the crowd. Okami's kind of at the center of the crowd next to Michael, who made that proclamation, and the entire crowd erupts after kind of that golden moment where everybody's eyes just kind of glittered with joy and the weight of the entire world being lifted off their shoulders as completed, and they just cheer. You can see them pull, everybody getting tables, pulling out all sorts of chairs and whatnot, filling this town square for a grand feast. At this point, several I want to say females. It's difficult to tell with the lack of like extreme facial features or the really kind of their fluid body types. But there's females that come up to both Okami and Michael von Duffen, who then proceed to stand at their arms and look at them, I guess.
At that Freya will turn, without taking her eyes off of the crowd and off of Michael, she'll kind of respond to you know, wasn't planning on fighting an ultimate evil today, but I guess we're going to. A drink would be the first step that one should take when going to fight an ultimate evil. So yeah, I'm down. You're buying. Let's go.
With these people though, it'd probably be something like space money, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Still buying. Let's go.
Okay. I have enough credits to buy.
Because we know Raph doesn't.
You don't know shit, okay?
As the player, I know you don't.
I'm broke as fuck. This is real life simulator 101 here.
I have. Hold on. I'm not sure my second right anymore.
Pickles, can you deal with the other two players for like 5 minutes so I can run downstairs and grab some food that just showed up?
Actually, I'm just gonna grab the bathroom real quick. So let's take a quick like 5 minute figure things out in our life, use the bathroom, that stuff.
Sounds good to me.
We'll be back.
Cool.
In a sec.
We'll be back.
Get 32 degrees or in the air, your air temperature, and that's not going to kill it off. You have to get the ground. Mosquito ground. whatever kind of tree. I know there's a palm tree and a
So stream, how's it going? Is everybody else as amused as I am that cameras got fucked up? Oh, it's because Wolf turned his camera off. Hopefully that'll fix when he comes back.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
How am I doing so far?
Okay, it fixed it.
Me?
Well, you turned your camera off, and then I looked at stream, and all of the cameras were fucked up.
No. Who turned
And
the
then
camera
when-
off? Oh no, it's good now.
And then when you came back, it fixed it.
I turned mine off because like my family was walking around behind me, and
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I have a little cover that covers mine, so I can just like flip it down and cover up my camera. It's really good when I'm just like walking around, no pants on. I'm just like doo doo doo, and then I'm like, oh crap, is my stream on? I like look over, I'm like, we good.
anyway, but my family just walk around, and they haven't like they want to be on stream, so
You're the last one in anyway, so it didn't mess with any of the cameras except when it does.
you were gone. Yeah.
am I the last one in?
Yeah, we're good. We're just waiting on Pickles.
And I'm back.
Never mind.
All right. So we are.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's at this point.
I'll edit
as
that part out of the YouTube video. We're good.
Okay. Cool. My bathroom break is edited out. Excellent. Excellent.
Well, now it's
so-
in. I'm not
All
editing
right.
that
So
out.
let's get right back into this.
Hey, Mr.
So
Pickles.
So the shapely female-like forms of these watery humans have approached Michael Van Doofen and Okami, and they've kind of embraced you a little bit, though Okami's not 100% sure why they're embracing you in such a way. Michael seems to have picked up on a vibe, and it looks like they're setting up for a feast. There's a great fire being started right in kind of this pit that might also be a well on the map. It's a pit. In this case, it is a fire pit of great proportion.
They're gonna sacrifice us to their gods.
And it actually looks like, well, they have like this weird creature that they're pulling out on a spike. It looks kind of like an ant, though an ant that's the size of a dog. And it looks like they're about to roast this ant across the fire, presumably based on basic cooking knowledge.
Well, that looks appetizing.
There are also several females who have approached the other group, not Freya, but more of Luther, who seem to be inclined, bubbling slightly. Would you like to dance with us in the tribe, friends?
No, thank you. I think my friend here her name is Hawk. I think she would enjoy it much more.
Their eyes sparkle and bubble as they look
Somebody
over
keep
to
volunteering me for shit. Their eyes bubble and sparkle. Excuse me, what was that?
their eyes bubble and sparkle at you with joy and glee. They look at you and says, "Would you like to dance with us in the tribe?"
She's into chick.
You guys can hear some weird kind of music starting to play.
Yeah, Gumby wrote in chat. He says, "I bet sex with a water girl would feel like dry humping a waterbed."
That's what I was laughing at.
I've had sex on a waterbed, and I will tell you, that is probably one of the top things that anyone could ever put on their bucket list. Just saying.
Wrath,
Good to know.
Just saying, just throwing it out there. If you have a bucket list, that should be in the top 10. For
And-
literally everybody.
I then stop the girls and I'm like, but later, because we have to get drinks first.
They smile and pull from the various packaging that they have on them. Most of these people are watery, but they have kind of leathery clothes on, and most of them have like kind of a small purse or sling bag made of similar leather. And they pull from them several vials, the lumpy kind of strange potion-like vials, and hold them out to you guys, uncorking them, of which you can smell that most certainly these are strangely fruity-smelling alcoholic beverages.
I'm sure I've had worse,
Freya
and I
grabs
take
it
one.
and starts downing it.
Same.
All right, you guys down the deliciously cherry flavored. It's like extremely cherry flavored, almost overwhelmingly cherry alcoholic beverages, and you can feel the warmth coming to your skin within this rather nice environment. And you guys both can look up into the sky, and you can see that it's approaching sunset within maybe like an hour or two, but it's still quite warm and very pleasant. You feel very much at home as you feel yourselves being tugged towards the village center. The girls saying, "We have food too, very delicious food." They bubble at you. Let's jump over to Okami while you guys are deciding whether or not you want to let them tug you. Okami, you're kind of given some freedom here. There's the two women embracing you, presumably. Michael Von Duffen has been pulled over to them to talk to the elder a little bit more, though he seems to be losing interest in that very rapidly. What would you like to do?
I would very much like to resist being groped by these freaky water women.
You can easily push them off. It's not even a match of your strength versus theirs. In fact, you've got this weird suspicion that these things are incredibly weak. Like that you could throw one of them several more meters or yards than you could throw a human per se.
Well, I'm going to gently push them off because I don't want to hurt them because I don't want to start a war.
Of course.
I'm going to gently push them off of me, and I try to, since all this other activity is going on, I'm going to try and escape my way back to Freya and Luther.
You're more than able to escape from these women who giggle and bubble at you before wandering off to do who knows what. I don't keep track of their lives. Come on, guys, don't hold me to standard. You make it over to Freya and Luther, who are being led towards you pretty much by two other watery people. The music has like reached like yes, the campfire has been lit and is fully blazing. You guys can hear the music from very kind of medieval style instruments. It's some crude lutes and some gentle animal hide drums you can hear.
Crude lewds?
Lutes.
Oh.
Like the instrument lute.
I was like,
Crude lewds.
I need to look up that style of music. I want to hang on. Let me check my skills here real quick.
No problem. That is a good point. Always check your skills. You know, you never like I as a player. I always forget what skills I'm good at, and sometimes I go across my skill sheet and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a skill that I've never used or a spell I've never used.
Yeah.
Well, while Wrath is doing that, I'm going to assume that I make it to them.
Oh yeah, you're right in front of them now.
I'm going to say to Luther, what the hell is going on this planet?
I want to use Streetwise. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, maybe you can correct me. What I want to do is I want to get a feel for kind of what's going on. And I want to find an area that I can get to where I can just keep an eye on things. Maybe even like a rooftop where I can sit up on the rooftop and just watch the festivities.
Okay. I think there might be two different skills that might be more applicable, and we'll clarify which one you want to actually do. Because in my argument, and you guys are free to argue with me on this. This is more or less what we believe as a group, and the Streetwise, it does say that it's understanding an urban environment, and I take that to mean more or less a modern urban environment. My alternative to that would be the science skill with the specialty social science. What is it? I think it's like anthropology they probably have, or it's up there, is it? Oh, I thought I saw.
Would kind of be more applicable if they have anthropology.
They have sophontology. I might be incorrect on that. The study of intelligent living creatures. That's kind of their replacement for anthropology and sociology. So that would be if you want to like figure out as much as you can about the society and how their society works, and maybe like what their big fear is. An alternative to what you just said though is recon, and recon is like sitting up on a rooftop or finding a really good spot to spy on places.
That's
And
good.
and that's to scout out dangers or spot threats, unusual objects, or out of place people.
Yeah, perfect. Let me use recon and let's find a good vantage point and start doing some bird's eye view. Name is Hawk.
Is it
recon.
is it both Akami and Hawk doing this, or is it just Hawk?
Just
I missed that. Okay.
Roll for me then, intelligence and recon. Freya, you're more than able to get up on a roof. The roofs are very like sloping ground.
2.
Ooh.
That's a 2. I'm really easy to get up on a roof as I fall.
Oh no, you're more than able to get up onto the roof. There's so much moving around in this environment and so many people. It doesn't really look to you like there's anything out of place or that there's like threats or anything. It looks like everybody's lively, loving, and having fun. You do not see Michael von Doofen at this point, but you do still see your friends.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. You did just see him in the crowd there. It's just there are people bouncing around, and there's a lot of people dancing, a lot of people eating and laughing.
I want to maintain my position on the roof. I can't move me. Which roof am I on?
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. Let's just put you right over here.
Perfect. That's where I want to maintain my position. Maybe gnawing on some food, like a meat.
How primitive are these water people?
I would put them at kind of a medieval kind of Dark Ages level. It looks like they have their leader, of course, seems to be this elder, as far as you can tell, since they all seem to respect him. But from beyond that, it's difficult to tell.
So they aren't like considered animal level, are they?
Oh no, definitely not. They're definitely intelligent.
Okay.
So Okami, seeing Freya attempting to climb up on this roof and check for dangers and things, has decided that he wants to try and grab some food, and then he's going to try and do the same thing from a different vantage point, see if maybe he can see something that she can't, since it's since he is technically working and it's a big crowd going on.
Okay. Roll me recon and intelligence. I'll put you right over here.
Seeing that they're both doing this, can I move to the house and do the same thing on the house that's like, so that makes a triangle?
Right up here?
No, the other, opposite direction.
Would it be this kind of triangle? Ooh, that's a nice triangle.
Yes.
Intelligence and recon. And of course, if you don't have the skill, you can just look at your character sheet. Your character sheet should say your modifiers from whatever I said, like dexterity, or intelligence, whatever I say. So in your case, you could roll if you don't want to add the skill, you can roll manually on roll 20 like you did for character creation, which would be 2d6 plus 1 in your case.
Pickles?
Yes.
Since this is more of an intelligence thing than a physical action, do I need the -2 from the combat armor or no?
Let me turn some pages really quick, and I'll get back to you in just a second on that.
All right.
For you, Wolf, you are also untrained in this, so you have a -3. So your +1 -3 would make a -2 overall. So you just roll 2d6 -2, and that'll get your result. I'm just turning to the pages because I want to remember you have combat armor. Remember what it is.
Is that good?
Let me go check.
No, that's bad.
No, I mean, like, is that good roll? Is that like good for, like, is that correct to roll?
It's correct. It's just not the best to roll.
Yeah.
That's technically better than Wrath's. No
It
offense,
is.
Wrath. I'm going to argue that it's not like battle dress, which covers your face. So I'm going to say your eyes are more or less available in this case.
Okay.
So I won't give you a penalty to recon. Yeah, because these roofs are really rather easy to get on.
All right. 10.
All right. So you're all scrambling onto roofs, getting up there and watching the crowds. And it's peculiar to you because every single one of you can see this happening to the other people as well as to yourself. For each of you, a bunch of water people come over to your building, stand on top of each other's backs, and bring food up to you. A chunk of meat, a big ol' fruit object. It actually, for Okami, you recognize the fruit. You saw this fruit at that vendor on the Imperium station. Though it was covered with something else. This just looks like the raw fruit or something, I guess. We're not cooks here. I don't know.
Can I roll?
Yeah.
Can I roll stealth to see if I can either
Avoid them noticing you're there.
Yeah, sit on the other side of the roof, maybe where they wouldn't notice me. I know it's kind of late because I already climbed up there, so they probably already saw me. But
Go for it. This is happening. We can say if you succeed that this is happening to your fellows. Roll me a
you never
stealth.
know unless you ask, so that's why I always like to ask.
Oh, that's fair.
Been like, oh no, you already climbed up there. They saw you climbing up. I would have been like, oh, it makes perfect sense.
No, let's see. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to all of them. Roll me stealth, and we'll say dexterity in this case to quickly get up there and whatnot.
I don't know if I can do this, but I'm willing to ask. So.
7.
Go for it, and then I'm gonna get right back to the result of the good recon roll.
Can I pull one up and be like, do you want to work for me? Do you want to be like a squire? To get him to follow me, so I have one person that follows me around and does stuff for me.
Oh, absolutely. That's an excellent idea. Roll for me, social standing and persuade. Let me just double check to help you out here, and I'm gonna get back to you.
Recruiting people. What's up?
BBG, I'm gonna get back to you. Don't worry. So you don't have persuade trained, so it's a -3, but your social standing gives you a +1. So again, it's 2d6 -2. Again, really good idea, even if it doesn't succeed.
Eight.
And we'll get back to that success in just a moment. All right. So of all these people on here, after being handed a chunk of the roasted ant meat, I guess. Gosh, I'm not going to try and understand them at this point with you here. You get ant meat and some fruit handed up to you, spiky fruit, and you notice something kind of odd. From your vantage point, you can see if you're on the map. Looking at the map, I'm going to ping on kind of the southern end.
Okay.
You can see in this. Come on. There we go. I have a beautiful green on green pinging. You can see right over here those 4 kind of punk-looking water people fighting against wooden posts, punching it like an unarmed combat. You can see one of them is holding a staff and looking rather winded. But they're the only thing that really stands out here. These toughs, I guess, if you will. Doing this rather than celebrating, because everybody else is celebrating. And it's at this point that you kind of look over. You can see that Freya's trying to hide from the people, but they kind of try and hide with her for some reason. They scramble around back. You've been spotted, and it does probably annoy you, but at the same time they're like, oh, I hope you're not getting hungry, as I hand a steaming chunk of ant limb to you.
She takes it and kind of pats it on the head. I wanna. Do I have a second to talk to this thing, or is stuff happening?
Oh, absolutely. I'll get back to Luther's success in just a second.
So she takes it and she'll take a bite and then pat it on the head and then she goes, "What do you call yourself?" "I'm Freya."
"I'm Tobias."
Tobias. I haven't met any of your species before. What race are you?
We're the chosen ones, my friend.
Chosen by who?
The outsider. The great outsider.
Is that your deity?
Oh, indeed. He is a wonderful man. He had various powers and was able to help us for a short time. Such a wonderful, wonderful person. You'll help us, right? You have the very powerful wood on your back. He points to your blade.
I was like, what? She kind of looks over her shoulder. She's like, what is it that you guys are needing help with exactly?
The evil ones. The watery person makes a big deal out of like clawing his hands in the air as if describing a big monster. The evil ones, they come and drink our souls.
Oh, drink your souls, water people. Huh. Okay. So humans. She'll look. She'll be like, what can you tell me about your people? How long have you been here? Where did you come from?
We've always been here since the great creation. The outsider visited us shortly after when the grand evil was born. And as the stories go, we have fought for centuries against these awful monsters, the destroyers of all that is pure. But we knew that the outsider would come back one day, or he would send friends. You're friends of the outsider, yes?
I have not met this deity of yours, not personally. Is this your homeworld? Is this all of you, or are there more?
Indeed, we were born here. This is the world we have populated.
So
We've heard of your other worlds, but we do not know of our other people and other worlds, my friend.
There are more of you on this planet, though. This is not the only town, correct?
We believe so, but it's difficult to communicate because of the great evil.
So, getting rid of this evil would really help you guys. You guys could actually, like, grow.
At the moment you say get rid of the great evil, the water person grabs you by your arm and says, "Yes, we must destroy. Please, you must protect us." Begins to sob great big watery tears that just kind of splash obnoxiously against the roof.
She'll just kind of look at all the little tears like falling everywhere.
So if a water person is crying tears of water, does that just mean that the water person is getting smaller because they're shedding their physical body in tears?
This would be a good test for kind of a very evil doctor to perform. It's possible.
I'm just logicking here.
Well, I mean, hey, all you have to do to test this is to make a water person cry so much that they potentially decrease in size. It's possible, and it's worth testing if you're evil.
If you're curious enough to know.
Do I have to pay the guy I'm like forcing into my squire, or since he's stupid, can I just like
you just call him stupid?
In his own mind, yes. And I'm gonna jump over because that was a success. Our number you want to get is always an 8. 8 or higher is the best numbers to get, which okay. I just realized is multiple numbers. But so as you pull him close and he's rather weightless, you notice, like you're able to pick him up and pull him towards you to make your request very easily. His eyes just kind of sparkle, and his whole face kind of starts bubbling, and he says, I would do anything to be your squire, sir. Teach me the ways of your outsider power. I'm Ezekiel.
So Pickles, can I add him to an ally since he's now my squire?
At this point, no. But in the plot itself, he is more or less your friend. That was kind of a point brought up during the week. I wanted to stop for a moment to talk to you guys. When does an NPC become a contact or an ally? And I'm going to be kind of adjusting that at the end of adventures. Like if you leave somewhere and somebody has the means of being contacted or in aiding you, then I'll add them as contacts and allies for you guys. If there was no other, like they weren't necessarily coming into the narrative. But allies within the plot itself are kind of signifiers of whether or not that'll happen in the end. Okay. Make sense, everybody?
Can I ask him whether or not he knows how to fight?
He gives you a puzzled look as his eyes kind of change direction and shift around in his face. It's kind of unsettling because his eyes just move around in circles, floating through his face rather than like rolling in circles. he says, I know not the way of the outsider. We are a peaceful people.
A peaceful people that just wants guns and to destroy the great evil.
Are you touching my thing, or is it just freaking out?
What's that?
Are you touching my character sheet, or is it freaking out on me?
I can't operate my character sheet.
It's just like switching back and forth.
I have your character sheet minimized, but I don't have it. Oh my, why is it that? Okay, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Wait. Is it stopped right now?
It looked like it just stopped on inventory for
Okay,
Luther.
Hang on. Now, what did it do?
I'm good. Mine seems to be working fine.
It's switching over.
To what? What's it on right now?
Robotics.
What the hell? I'm in my character sheet, but I'm moving yours.
Let me see if
Oh,
I don't even see his character sheet on my list of characters. I only see.
I was like, I'm sitting here trying to like
Freya,
figure
and
out
Angus.
why I can't change mine, and then he's like, mine's flipping out. I was like, mine's not doing anything. I was like, wait a second, I'm moving yours.
Yeah, well, what happened was I gave Wrath permission to use his character sheet. I don't know why it would be.
Yeah, why? But
affecting
why
you.
wouldn't it let me still use mine? I don't even have his open.
Well, it's an interesting thing to.
There, now I don't have
Hold on.
control over his.
It's an interesting thing to click on Luther and
Oh,
see
there,
his
no.
bio and info.
I can change mine now.
Do you hit like my bio?
Luther is nice.
That's all that says.
Luther is nice.
Luther's nice.
That's how it is.
All right, we should be good now.
Yep, we are good. We're good. I was wondering
Cool.
if I can
I'll
change
add one
anything.
later, but I just added that like 20 minutes ago. Like, good with this.
Hey, that's okay. Mine is still blank.
So, but do I know, or is it only a comment that knows this? Saw those four like troublemakers.
You guys had all seen the troublemakers, more or less. They were on the map I'm pinging at the moment. The south side of this square, or the village square, you kind of saw. They were all over there, and then as the crowd entered, they moved south. Okami's the only one who saw directly where they went, though.
What they were doing.
Yeah, and Okami, of course, would kind of. You could see that if anybody's coming down that path, they'd probably eventually notice, because you look very closely. There's not really a gate or anything over there.
So I can see them.
You can't see them because you haven't really noticed them. But if Okami knows if anybody's to walk down that path, you'll
So,
probably eventually see them.
question: does Luther have a comm device?
He does not.
Okay, so I'm gonna use my neural comm to patch into Freya. And
Absolutely.
I want to tell her about the four thugs. Just let her know that the four thugs we saw when we were entering the village are in that yard back there and beating up on some training dummies.
Can I ask my squire now about the town and ask him some questions? Or-
Absolutely.
all right. So first of all, I'm gonna ask him who the old guy was.
Well, that's our village elder. He's the wisest and strongest of our fighters, or he once was. But the great evil, they came and they struck him down with their steel pipes of doom. They sucked the life from him a few times, but he managed to survive each time. He is our greatest and wisest.
So
What?
they call them the enemy's weapon steel pipes, but they call Freya's sword the strong wood.
So I asked him, what does what does this great evil look like?
It is a great bug like the one we roast, but much more powerful. Outsider taught us that they have great powers and that they must be stopped, for they are vile things. They come after us on a very frequent
Are they-
basis.
Are they metal or are they like organic?
He looks at you puzzled, and at the word metal especially, his eyes kind of floating about, and he says, "Oh yes, outsider steel, yes. They are powerful, they are strong. We cannot defeat them with our great wood."
When I came into the town, though, all of you seemed to greet us except for like 3 or 4 individuals. Do you
His
know
eyes
anything about
go-
them?
His eyes just go wild at that point. And his mouth kind of just runs. I said, we all love the outside. We all love them. We love outsiders.
I'm
we
sure,
all love.
I'm sure you do, but like 4 of them just sat on the wall. and they looked different from the rest of you. They were water people like you, but
he says, "Don't tell you won't tell Elder I said this to you, yeah?"
yes, of course, you're a squire. What we talk about is confidential. You don't tell anyone what I tell you. I don't tell anyone what you tell me.
There are some within our congregation here that do not believe. They don't believe that you guys were going to come and help us. They say that that you will come and take advantage of us, and you do not seek to protect us. The outsiders said we would get guns to destroy the great evil. He says, getting all simmery.
Where are these for? Can you take me to them? I would like to meet them.
He points more or less down the road here. And you can kind of clearly see which building he's pointing to.
Follow him. Oh, sorry.
They're nothing but trouble, though, sir. You don't want to deal with them. They're troublesome.
Follow me, please.
Okay. Absolutely.
I walk down there.
All right, you are walking at the moment. I'm going to put you partially down so we know you're walking. See, Freya Hawk to rest. Freya lays back on...
I didn't mean to do it. Yeah, that's my bad. Freya Hawk to rest, what you doing, just whatever. Lays back on the roof and continues discussion with her circle of listeners. So pretty much what I want to use this time for is until something occurs, I'm pretty much just, I've probably, amassed like a school circle at story time. And we're just sitting there, like, I'm telling them about, what life is like offside their world, and I'm really trying to learn a little bit about their, world and their people. And so hopefully, I mean, we don't need to role play all of this, but hopefully maybe during the week you can just give me like a synopsis of maybe what I learned about this race, if I can add it to my codex.
Roll for me, actually. Social standing and carouse.
Standing and carouse. I don't have carouse, but
I
do now.
Oh, come on. Oh, I don't have carouse. I have Jack of all trades 3.
Oh, then I have it. Alright, modifier 0, correct? I don't know why I asked that. You're just
no. Actually,
you'll tell me, right?
Modifier 1 in this case. That's fair. I want to give you bonus.
You just want to give me one.
That's where y'all keep your notes at. Like
7.
Y'all just use a Word document.
For me, I keep all of my notes on a program called Evernote, which is absolutely free to download. It has paid versions, but I keep all of my notes like virtually on that, and otherwise
Evernote,
I use.
If you want to sponsor me, wrathinspired@gmail.com. Hit me up.
Oh, love Evernote.
I'm talking about them. They're not paying me yet.
I have this crush on them. It's like whatever. Don't tell them.
Okay. I use I actually sat down today and how do I say this? I sat down today at a undisclosed location that I was at earlier today, and
His bedroom.
No. Used Google Word because or not Google Word. What? Used Word document because my computer doesn't have Word on it. And I went through and made an actual like journal for Freya, like my character's keeping a journal. And it had like drawings, sketches and everything, and like journal entries, kind of detailing her adventures so far. So that's how I'm doing it.
Your carouse does still give you some information. What did you want to say, Wolf?
I'm just gonna keep it in my equipment thing until I get a note thing.
Oh yeah, it's all good. And as I've said before, if you guys forget or didn't know, and if you're an audience member and you don't care, for equipment, whatever works for you. As long as my copy is the same as your copy, we're all good.
I have a question. Do I know what the water people's species like actual name is?
You guys do not.
I do.
Beyond yeah, I guess yeah. But there is no
spaceport.
There's no academic name though. You guys BVG Okami saw the poster. You all likely saw the poster at the or various posters at the space station that said these people specifically are not to be sold guns.
So you did last session say what they were called. saying that the poster said do not sell guns to the blank. I forget what it was. You did say that.
Indeed.
So what do they call them? So
I'm trying to remember what I called them now.
I know them as the chosen ones because that's what this little dude told me on the roof.
Are they Mr. Meepsies?
No, they're likely referred to as water people.
Stan Waters.
Very simply, water people, not Stan Waters. Wrath, get out of here, dude. That person doesn't exist.
I know where he comes from now, though. I found his homeworld.
That's gross. So during your carousing with these people, you're telling them all sorts of stories about your pirate stuff as the sun is setting and as you guys are able to eat and whatnot. And the biggest thing is every time you mention gunfights, gunfire, drawing guns, because you definitely do have some skill at using firearms to at least a light degree, they get all turned up. They just start cheering and start freaking out like it's the most amazing thing. These guns that you describe, any rifles, anytime that there's like turrets destroying things or having massive power, they get all absolutely interested in it. Beyond that, you don't really gather too much. They seem more interested in your stories than sharing any of theirs. Let's jump over to Okami, who continued to scan the area for trouble while eating his food. You don't really see much trouble brewing. It's difficult to say what trouble is. Around this area, it's in kind of a clearing, so there's not a lot of trees blocking your view beyond the ones that are on the map. It's as sparse as the ones on the map, pretty much. There's trees every once in a while, but if there was like an invading army coming, you would see them. And we'll jump down over to Luther. You've successfully arrived without breaking any legs to the area where your companion Ezekiel seems very, very concerned. He seems nervous about even entering here, even though he's pointing down that little fenced alleyway towards the Tufts.
Do they see me?
They don't, but you can see them, or at least they haven't noticed you yet.
Okay. So, like, can I like? Oh, so I just like yell. I'm like, "Hello, people."
You see these four watery beings kind of turn over towards you. They all kind of have a rather. It's difficult to say what they're trying to do, but it looks like their entire face is a frown. Like their eyes are frowns, their mouth is a frown, the nose even is a frown. It just looks like they're kind of creased and looking bitter at you. And one of them kind of speaks up and says, "What do you want, Outworlder?"
So I talked to Ezekiel, and he told me you guys don't trust outsiders and don't think they're going to help you. And I think you're smart, the smartest ones here for that reason. And I want to help you train and fight better so you can protect yourselves. Because you can't rely on outside help all the time.
He chuckles a little bit and says, you think that you can help us, Outworlder? You're pathetic. We are stronger than you. I know the truth. Huh, guys, he says, beckoning at his pals, who all kind of nod and say, yeah, except for one of them, who you've noticed at this point that one of the guys just kind of turns away and is kind of walking very slowly away from the group towards like the far fence.
Hey, I call him. I'm like, come over here. I'm talk to y'all. Because I also pull out my rifle. I'm like, you have one stick. I have this. You may be physically stronger than me, but I like wave it around at them.
As you pull it out, they all like stumble back except for the one who's not facing you. And in fact, they all kind of fall down, like stumbling back. They freak out quite a bit. But they all try and kind of stand up and regain their composure. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, BBC. The one that was kind of talking to you grabs a stick off of the wall that has a chunk of stone stuck into the tip of it. He holds it in kind of a defensive stance and says, "If you're so brave, Outworlder, why don't you fight me hand to hand?"
If I fight you hand to hand, will you listen to me and take my advice so that you may be able to defend your people here and not be killed instantly?
He looks at you with his eyes start to kind of move like your friend Ezekiel's eyes move, where they float upwards in a confused motion, but he corrects it really quickly and says, Outworlder, if you're able to defeat me in hand-to-hand combat, I will take you to the path of snakes, where you will find true glory and be able to finally defeat the true evil of this universe.
All right. And I will, before I would do the snakes thing, after I beat you, I will train you how to fight, because I don't think you know how to fight very well, and I feel like that you can help me.
He chuckles, tossing his spear to the side and raising his fists in an offensive manner. Says, "Let's fight, Outworlder."
I hand my rifle to Ezekiel, and I'm like, "Hold this."
He takes the rifle, and it's almost as if he gave him a sack of bricks. He like falls back. He almost hits the ground, but he kind of stumbles about and wheelbarrows his legs and holds it back up, regaining his composure. Like he's still holding bricks, but he's like, "Yes, I got this. I have a purpose."
You can lean in on the post if you would like, if it's too heavy.
He says, "Yes, sir."
You don't need to call me sir. We're friends.
He falls up against the fence, leaning all of the weight on that. It's at this point that Okami has noticed that there is something worth kind of scanning the area for trouble. You notice your friend has gone over to those thuggish-looking water people. Do you wish to interfere at all?
I would like to jump down from my rooftop and run over there to see what's going on. I don't want to actually interfere with what's going on. I just want to run up and check it out.
Freya, of course, can see you jumping down. Did you wish to contact each other at all, or did Freya want to act in any way?
Yeah, Freya will kind of, she'll put her finger up to her lips as she's talking to Tobias and his friends and pull out her radio and this is Hawk. I see some movement. Where you off to? Over.
We may have some trouble down here with Luther. I'm going to check it out. I'll keep you informed.
Solid. Out. Clicks it back on her belt and resumes conversation with Tobias, kind of keeping an eye or keeping peripherals on what's going on out there.
And you can see Michael Van Dufen has actually entered, going to ping on the map. He's entered this building with several of the females, probably to like have dessert or something. I don't know. I'm not here to judge.
Favorite kind of dessert.
Who knows? Who knows?
Favorite flavor of food is dessert. That made sense, right?
Absolutely. So even though you're weighed down by your combat armor, you're more than able to run through the street, Okami. In fact, the people jump out of the way and start cheering for you, clapping at your brilliant, powerful, whatever. I don't know why they're clapping. That's probably why they're clapping. You tell me, or don't.
They're clapping because they're all drunk.
Well, that could be too. Actually, you do notice that they have like various colors flowing through them at this point. Not to mention bits of meat. But they make way for you, and you're able to make it down here right as Luther's kind of walking up to this rambunctious man, and preparing to fist fight. If that was actually what you were wanting to do, Luther.
Yes, of course. Yes, I would like to do that. But before I do that, I'm like, I look over at you coming. I'm like, stay out of this.
As I arrive on the scene to see him walking up, I call out to him and go, Luther, what's going on?
These gentlemen don't believe we can help them and are trying to train on their own. And I think I can help. And I think we should probably train them and help them so we don't have to come back here every single time they need saving. And they don't think I can help them. So I'm going to prove to them by beating him up.
Well, this sounds interesting. I'm just going to lean up against the fence post and just kind of watch the ensuing hilarity.
Also, Tommy, make sure that my squire doesn't break my rifle.
Yes, it appears at this moment he leaned onto the fence and has kind of sank down against the fence, and he's sitting with your rifle across his lap, not touching the ground. but he's not able to stand very well.
How does fisticuffs work in this game? How's that gonna work?
So if you do not have the melee combat unarmed skill, you're able to. It's the same as your just 2d6 plus a strength modifier, I believe, -3 because it's not trained.
Ooh.
And for you, that would
That
be
is -3. That'd be 2d6 -3.
2d6 -3. And how combat works for health, you might not have noticed the lack of a health point system here. What it works is when you have your endurance, you take damage to your endurance after armor, and once your endurance is at a 0, I believe you pass out. Actually, let me double check that because I want to say that's wrong.
I believe he tells us the rules, and he's like, I don't even believe me right now.
Yeah, Mr. Pickles, I'd like to call bullshit. First off, Mr. Pickles. No. I'm trying to find the page really quick, guys. Sorry. I'm kind of new to the system in case you're just joining in now. Oh, and I turned to the right page. Page 65 in the core rulebook. Damage is applied initially to the target's endurance. Once it's 0, then that further damage is subtracted from target's strength or dexterity, which is the target's choice. Once strength or dexterity is reduced to 0, then the character is unconscious, and any further damage is subtracted from the remaining physical characteristic. At 000, you dead.
You did.
So I subtract from. Oof.
So in this case, the most ideal scenario for you, well, you don't have to make a choice. You have more or less 16 health points until you are knocked out. Now, for damage, I believe unarmed damage is D6. But we're going to kind of speed this up a little bit because we're doing a little bit of
Can I, as we're about to get ready to fight, can I just headbutt him?
Absolutely. Roll, and in fact, it looks like he's giving you the first attack. He's kind of going up to you, shifting in the spot. You can tell that his legs very agile. They're like flipping all over. It almost looks like he has no joints because he obviously does not have any joints.
Do I just roll a 2d6 minus? Sorry.
So what you'll roll for this is 2d6 -3. You want to get an 8. Oh, no problem, man.
What were you saying though about his?
2d6 -3.
No, but what you saying something about his joints? He has no joints.
Oh yeah, he's moving his legs really swiftly, kind of in a combat stance, but he's not doing the attack. You move forward, swing as best as you can several times, but he's just dodging you absolutely every single time. He swings back at you, punching you directly in the chest, but doing absolutely nothing. It's almost like getting sneezed on by somebody. It just punches against your chest, and he leaps back. He knows that he didn't give it his all right there, but he holds out his arms defensively, trying to recompose himself. And it's your turn. Did you want to continue punching him?
Can I try to kick out his legs?
Absolutely. Roll that 2d6 -3.
All right. Oh, I forgot to put the command in.
It's all good. We're all learning here.
Rest of us.
Yeah.
-3.
I'm over in Mithras on Saturdays being like, I don't know how to draw lines. At this point, you swing so wildly that it doesn't even come close to hitting him. You hear his buddies laughing like, Outworlder can't swing. But your backup Ezekiel says, you guys, the Outworlder knows what he's doing. He's just not hurting you on purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Hashtag hype man.
Okami is standing there chuckling to himself.
This is the saddest fight ever.
Your opponent swings out with his leg, trying to kind of mimic what you were doing, and his leg crashes against your own, ricocheting off. It bends onto your leg.
Crashes like waves. I get it.
it bends and then ricochets off, and he jumps back and is like, "Okay, Outworlder, yeah, you might have me here, but I'll take you down. It's your turn.
At this
All right.
point, real quick, Okama's
for
gonna patch into Freya over the comms and just let her know that there's nothing to worry about going on down here.
Yeah, you got nothing to worry about.
So I just try to get a hit him. I just try to swing and try to hit him at this point.
All right, just punch the crap out of this water thing. 2d6 minus 3. You kind of impact against him, and it's almost as if he just rolls with your attack at this point. You do impact him with this punch, he rolls, and it doesn't do anything except send him flopping to the ground, and he promptly kind of rolls back up into a battle stance. And on his turn, he charges towards you, doing a leaping. He leaps into the air and pulls back his punch, and he crashes into you. And at this point, you feel his full body weight. And it's probably like 30 pounds, maybe. It is a bit of a pushback against you.
Does it do any damage?
Enough to do damage.
They kind of cut it out.
Yeah, one more
Cut it
time,
out.
Pickles. Good?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard you
Yes.
I think I just became good.
that. He says that and then he cuts out.
So basically what he was trying to say, at least what I think is what he was trying to say, was it kind of crashed into you and it was kind of weight pushing back on you, but it wasn't enough to do damage. I think that's what I got from
So,
that.
does he fall to the ground? And can I curb stop him?
Pickles, are you back?
I think I am. And we're going to take a moment to do a commercial for. So he crashed up against you. I don't know how much of that.
Are we live?
What's that?
Are we live?
Yeah, we're
We've
good.
been live
I feel
for
live.
the last 2 hours. He's like just now,
so
like,
I don't
wait,
know how much
did we
that
go live?
No, I have the Twitch set up.
Sorry, Pickles, I've been interrupting you. Go ahead.
It's all good. Like a 30-pound weight against you, this water creature crashed up against you, doing a charging jump, like punch, and it did absolutely nothing beyond pushing you back a few feet. But as he's slammed into you and he jumps back, regaining his composure and holding up his hands defensively, he looks very satisfied that he probably caused injury to you.
Did he cause injury to me?
Absolutely not.
All right, so again, I am going to try to hit him, just punch him at this point. I'm not going for anything fancy.
Yes. 2d6 minus 3. You swing again, and it's at this point that you've realized that your skill is not going to ever really land a punch on this dexterous, agile creature who's just bouncing across the place. You swing, and he just deftly dodges you. While he can't seem to do much damage to you in any way, neither can you.
Is there any way I can swing, push him into a corner with my punches?
If you could manage to land a blow, I mean, even with this unarmed skills, you're not able to really corner him. He keeps dodging around you and jumping and bouncing off that fence and slamming against the wall. It's a little obnoxious how much he's bouncing around, and Okami can see all of this. At this point, Freya can as well. All this bouncing.
All this bouncing.
Freya can see all the bouncing and the contrast of the human with the water people. So you are all aware of this going on.
Okay. So, I guess I'm just gonna try to. Because I can't cheat if I want them to, like me.
Just grab your rifle and blast the fuck out of him.
That's not gonna make him like us, though.
This is true.
Is he look like he's getting tired at least?
He does not. He looks like he's getting pumped up, apparently.
Oh yeah! Get pumped.
I charge him and try to tackle him to the ground.
All right, roll me some 2d6 minus 3. You run towards him and try to like launch yourself and grab him, but he manages to dodge out of the way, and you tumble into the ground. The other water people all laugh, just kind of. Oh my gosh, world,
including your squire.
Your squire is unspoken here, actually.
Can I run up to like Okami and like grab him and I whisper in his ear like, "Rip him."
You are able to walk out of there towards the road area where Okami's standing and tell him that information.
Like without anyone hearing me though, besides him.
Well, the water people watch you kind of walk out a little ways from their residence here, but they wouldn't really be able to hear you. You can just hear them laughing and joking about there.
Trip him and make him fall to the ground, please.
Why should I help you, boy? You picked this fight.
Boy.
I will give you 50. I will give you 50 credits if you trip him.
Make it 100, and I might consider helping you.
75.
Oh, fine. I'll consider it.
All right, so then I enter the fight again, and I would spitting in his face do anything?
No, but I would
Make
have
him
you do it.
larger, more empowered. You're adding liquid to liquid.
How about actually, it's like, can I try to like throw like dirt in his face?
What if I stick a hose in him?
It's all up to what you want to try and do against him. As you re-enter, they all kind of look at you if you are entering. Or did you say you're entering?
Yes, I re-enter. Like I pick up some dirt, and I walk up to him, and I'm just like, "Could you see me?"
Yes, I'm watching you guys.
Just like that to his face.
Roll. Let's see. That'd be your dexterity. We're just gonna say it's a dexterity check here. So if you go to the top of your character sheet and just click on the dexterity, it'll roll dexterity for you.
Okay, so anything I need to add?
No modifiers, no. He seems prepared for a fight again, and as you throw dirt at him, he just dodges out of the way. All of his friends just go, "Oh my gosh, yeah! Oh yeah!"
Okay, real
Jeez,
quick,
they're
just
kind of annoying me.
Just for clarification.
Oh, go for it.
I'm picturing this more as Luther being like in the center of the field, and me being where Luther is, like just kind of at the fence side, not actually out in the street. Because if they're
That's
fighting,
true.
that would be a very confined place for them to be fighting. And if he wants me
That's true.
if he wants me to try and trip him to help him out, then I kind of can't do that from the street.
I would say the first fight probably was in that cramped alleyway, and now that you've kind of walked back, it is probably in there. If anybody wants to disagree at all,
That's fine with me.
cool. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Is that you'd go back and grab dirt and then throw it, because they probably walk back there to chuckle and whatnot.
So
At this point, the watery guy that you've been fighting says, "You're not very fast, are you, Outworlder?"
I rely on my intellect in most cases, but I can still. I just haven't been trying.
Does Freya want to do anything at this point? Freya's been just sitting there. You've been talking to people and whatnot, and a lot of people want to dance with you. There's been many suitors who have proposed to you at this point.
Propose, not ask to dance. Propose.
Well, I mean, can you blame him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I can't. Did you want to take one of the suitors up? You have your choice of many.
No, I'm not looking for a suitor at the moment.
She doesn't have enough alcohol in her.
But no. I'm more interested in being on good terms with the alien allies and seeing my team trying to fight them. I feel like I'd be torn to. I'm gonna go try and intervene. I'm gonna approach them.
And I yell, "Stop! Do not
Collaborate and listen.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, actually, that is a good point. You're more than able to have made it across in a reasonable amount of time.
Well, I was
to the
gonna
point where
say-
he's with Okami, not necessarily seen by Luther. Go ahead,
I,
BG.
I was going to say, he could always, he does have that comm unit. He could always just, or she could always, check in with me with what was going on and ask them
That's
why
a
they're
good point.
fighting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about the comms unit. Can I retract my last statement?
Go right ahead.
I forgot about the comms unit. Thank you, Wing. I'll pull out the radio and I'll Okami, this is Hog. What the hell is he doing?
This idiot, for some reason, wants to try and train these people, but they don't think he can, so they're having a little bout of fisticuffs so he can prove it, which he's doing an absolutely terrible job at. Over.
Well, if everything goes as I see it going, we need to be doing better relations with possible alien allies. So training them, not a bad idea. Trying to fight them and losing doesn't look very good for us. So see what you can do to remedy that situation if you get the time.
Don't worry, I'm already on it. Over.
Solid.
All right, so you're still going to be on your rooftop with your adoring fans and your 17 different suitors.
17? That's a lot.
Freya is actually gonna drop from the roof and head to the building that our
Patron.
yes, our fine, well-educated and well-mannered patron entered.
You can approach the building with relative ease, and you can hear from within. There is much laughter and merriment occurring. You can hear glasses clinking and the bubbling speak of these people, as well as a quip from your rather intoxicated boss. Do you wish to enter?
Oh yeah.
You barge into this building. It is rather, as I said, it's medieval, more or less. There's not a lot of innovation here. There's kind of a fireplace with stone and whatnot, and stone and wood seem to be the primary components of this community here. You can see them all, your boss and several of the women all around a fire, the fireplace, enjoying the warmth and laughing over various potions of strangely colored liquids. It appears that they're drinking mostly orange or it looks kind of like a greenish, I guess. It's kind of dim light in here with the sunset and all, and the fireplace giving the only light. It looks like green that they're drinking, orange and green. The other boss looks up at you and says, with a drunken grin, "Is there a problem, Freya?"
I want to make a quick note to myself that the water people don't evaporate next to fire. I don't know much about this race, so I'm learning. And
Valid point.
she'll look at him and she'll be like, "Never, Captain. Just curious, what's the ETA? Are we staying for a prolonged period of time? Should I keep the ship warm?"
All of the women say, "No, please, Captain, please stay for as long as possible. There are so many things to see in our land." And your boss says, "You know what? Yeah, I think we might stay for a few days or something."
I heard you mention volunteering us to fight the great evil. Seems to be an outsider of some great power. I'm trying to remember. I didn't hear about the bug thing. That was somebody else. So I just say seems to be an outsider of some great power. Is that something that you were paying us for?
All of the women, their eyes sparkle and their faces bubble, looking towards your captain with almost more interest in this than you have. And he says, "You know what? I'm sure our crew can handle a little bug problem. We've got guns. You've got a blade, Freya. Like, I'm sure we can handle this great evil."
And will you be coming with us to fight this great evil, there, Captain?
Heck yeah, I got a shotgun ready. I'm ready to fight with whatever this little problem is. It's in the ship though, so I'd actually have to hop over to the shuttle to grab it.
It's in the shuttle or in
Run
the
away.
ship?
It's in the shuttle.
Oh, okay. Freya's like, don't you bother yourself. You remain comfortable. Tomorrow we'll seek out this great evil. I'll gather your gear. And at that, she turns and heads out the door.
He doesn't seem to be inclined to stop you from leaving.
I had a feeling he wouldn't. But I wanna make
Meanwhile,
sure that he has his gun and he doesn't leave.
Excellent. While you're going outside, prepare me on what you're going to be doing while I jump over to, well, think on what you're going to be doing is what I meant to say, whatever. Jumping back over to the Brawling Bros, our two male characters here. Go for it, Wolfie.
Can I try to fake out, like, pretend like I'm giving up and then, like...
He's trying to get all kinds of cheatsy.
Can I try to fake out? Like, put my hands up and, like, be like, you're good. And then, like, when he turns around and, like, kick him in the back of his leg and, like, punch him in the face.
Absolutely. And I'll have you roll. I'm giving you a +2 bonus for that, which really just makes it so you have a -1 penalty. They're 2d6 -1. I'm giving you a bonus for that dirty tactic. Oh! Looks like you hit. Roll me a d6.
All right.
Nice.
5.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you put up your hands in defeat and all, and you turned around and you could hear them chuckling. And that's why I gave you that +2 is 1 point for, you caught them by surprise, and 2 points, you knew that they would immediately be chuckling at you like little punks. And as you turn around, you swing out and you feel your fist impact right into the center of his chest. And it knocks him completely off his feet, flying several feet over into the fence at the far end of the yard, actually. You feel almost like Superman having thrown him so far. But you know deep down that these are light creatures and that this is not necessarily the strongest measure of your strength. Regardless, he coughs several times and then stands back up with a look of pain on his face. His eyes are kind of like weird indented X's.
At this point, Okami draws his dagger, and he's gonna throw it at one of the training dummies here, the closer of the training dummies, aiming for the chest area. Just trying to show off and end this little fisticuffs bout.
I say, Luther says, like I said, like you said, you can't trust Outworlders? Is that what they said? They called us?
Yeah, Outworlders.
Outlanders, yeah.
Yeah. You can't.
Outworlders, Outlanders, whatever.
Like you said, never trust Outlanders.
Okami, roll me a dexterity melee blades to illustrate your finesse there.
Okay, so I have the blade combat skill. So
yeah.
And my dexterity modifier is 0, so I just click it and roll.
You should be able to change whatever the characteristic is, because probably the most common is going to be strength, but in this case, you can change it just to dexterity.
Not for blade combat, because it's a specialty. I don't have that option.
Would it be on the option above with melee combat?
I don't know if that affects it or not.
I'm like 27% sure.
It does.
Oh, cool. I was hoping it would. I'm also fine with you guys rolling like just straight rolls. At this point, you throw the blade, but it doesn't stick into anything. It just flies past and clatters against the fence posts, which seem to be rather poorly made. And that's I want to blame the fence posts really for your failure here. They weren't meant to be, stabbed into. I don't know.
We're not doing good. We're not doing great at oppressing them, are we?
No, we're not.
And that's the weird part, because in a way you kind of are. They all jump at the moment that Okami throws a blade, just like they thought you were throwing a missile almost. They all jump back, like waving their arms wildly above their heads, just like ah!
including the ones with the ones that were practicing.
Well, they weren't really practicing. All the others at that point that you've entered, they've been all watching and kind of laughing whenever you leave. But they all jump as well. All of them jump.
As they all jump, I'm gonna start walking over to the fence post to pick up my dagger, and I'm gonna say, "Listen, you can have us train you, and you can actually do something, or we can leave and you can die."
That's a bold statement right there. They all look at you, clearly taking you very seriously with your bold statement. Except for the one that was knocked down, he still has his X's over his eyes. They all have relatively normal faces. They say, if you can survive the path of snakes, Outworlders, then maybe you aren't lying.
Well, the way that this is going, you probably won't.
Well, to be fair, I have a gun. I use a gun on a regular basis. I don't fight hand to hand. If this was Freyla, we would be good. But since she's not here. But I'm like, fine, but you're coming with us since you were so confident earlier.
They all nod. One of the kind of guys that was hanging back there, he looked like one of the more buff, but he might just be overweight. It's really difficult to tell with this species. He says to all of you guys, if you wish to come along on our path to snakes, you must be prepared to die. There is a purpose, though, for all of our path to the snakes. If we make it there, and if we get it to the great tree, we'll be able to get great berries that give us great power.
What exactly is the path of snakes?
The two that were watching kind of laugh. He doesn't know. And the one that was fighting you says, after, it is a path that we know of that leads to the great tree that the outsider planted for us, so that we would always be able to find berries that would make us powerful enough to kill.
All right. At the two that are laughing, I gesture for for my lackey to bring over my rifle.
He is struggling. You can hear him kind of inching along the ground and trying to get up, but it's like at this point you can see him kind of at the edge of the house. He's stuck. Your lackey's stuck right. I'm pinging on the map right at that corner.
Oh, hold on. Can you do it one more time? Oh, can I walk over to him and take the rifle?
Oh, absolutely. You're more than able to lift that gun
I lift it up
out of his arms, and
I cock it and point at them kind of halfway, not really good, not actually gonna shoot him, but just to scare him a bit.
Oh, you certainly scare them. The moment you cock the gun, they all scream in a very, very cowardly way. Just no. They all kind of make a very big deal about avoiding being shot by you or being in the line of sight of you.
Can I be like? Can I tell a copy of you might want to call Freya and she might want to get over here.
Yeah, it's at this point that Freya notices the gun being drawn too.
Freya's over there. Freya's with us.
No, Freya can see. She's been made aware of the situation. She's been able to kind of look back every once in a while, and then she looks back and sees that a gun just got drawn on these people.
Okami is going to go over the comms to Freya and tell her that we have to go through the path of snakes to prove to these people that we are capable of helping them.
Understood. I think setting up some kind of training camp, teaching people how to at least defend themselves is a good idea. I trust you guys with that. I need to get back to the shuttle. I have to get some gear for the captain for this mission tomorrow. Apparently we're actually gonna do this and try and take out this great evil of theirs, so make sure you guys are rested up and ready to go for that. Best of luck with the snakes.
Understood. Over and out.
So
As Freya looks back from she was probably looking over her shoulder, kind of over at the group while she's talking to him. As she looks back, she sees all of the water people in absolute shock. Their eyes are massive, like giant ostrich egg size eyes of absolute shock, and their mouths are all wide open, like the path of snakes! Shouts Tobias.
Yes. What do you know of it?
Oh, the path of snakes, says Tobias before he's interrupted by somebody else. It's the worst path! They're gonna die!
Why do you say that?
Tobias looks back, rude, but the path of snakes is our most dangerous path. The great outworlder, he says, putting his hands on your knees and pulling himself closer to your face. A great outworlder planted a tree, a great and powerful tree that would give off berries that would feed us. And if we ate the berries, we would become so strong as to defeat all of our enemies. But the other one came. The other one came and put a grand trap there and made it difficult for us to get there.
Which is worse, the great evil or the path of snakes?
The great evil was created by the one who made the path of snakes. The great evil, it always seeks to tear us down, the Outworlder said. He said to us that the great evil will always make problems and always seeks to undo his rights. He helped us, and the great evil hurt us.
Out of character, I'm trying to figure it out. So the path of snakes isn't just like some walk in the park. This is gonna be like an adventure.
It's possible. You could ask them for more approximate ranges, but I don't know if that would help too much.
I doubt it.
We also have to keep in mind that these people are extremely weak, and what might
that's
be
what I was
dangerous to
thinking.
them
So I
is-
was like, you guys would be able to handle it, and I could deal with some of the other stuff that we got to do. But if this is gonna be difficult,
Also, the character. BBG, you do have better strength and dexterity than you, right?
I have a 9 in strength and dexterity of 8. So I get a +1 modifier to anything strength and 0 to this dexterity.
Yeah, I have 7 for both.
Yeah, and my social is 4, so I have a -1 modifier, and then I didn't have
My social is 9.
stealth.
And my
So I was just like, when he's telling me to roll a social stealth, I'm just like, oh well, I'm fucked.
I have a social of 9 and an intellect of 11.
At this, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let them head to the Path of Snakes. I'm going to go get the gear from the shuttle that we need, bring it back, and then I'll have Tobias show me the path the way to the Path of Snakes, and then I can come in behind him and provide support.
So, do you think maybe we should train them a bit before we go? Like, we have like 3 or 4 hours of training? Some basic defense stuff?
I think we're ready to go now, but I'm not there, so it's up to you.
They say to you, if you are willing to take on the path of snakes, outworlders, then we will leave in the morning. The elder will give us our provisions, and we will take down this trial.
So I think we should probably maybe do something to help them, because I have a funny feeling that not too many of them are going to come back.
Well, I feel like that's not a terrible idea. However, we did little to impress them, so they probably wouldn't want our help.
I mean, my squire could probably, at least we could, my lackey could we could at least train my lackey a bit.
It's true. we could train the lackey a bit.
Maybe hit him to carry I don't know, a giant hammer or something. Like how that guy had the staff with the piece of rock confined to it.
Well, it was a spear. Giant hammer is
a
completely different story. He can barely handle your rifle.
I thought he said it was like a stick with a rock attached to it.
He did, but then he said it was a spear.
Oh.
Yeah, BVG is correct. It is definitely spear shaped.
Okay. Well, maybe we can teach him how to use a spear or something so that he doesn't die. Because
would that fall under blade combat since? I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of spear it is. The throwing kind or the, like, lance kind.
I have no idea what to do with him. I am not good at that, and we don't have extra. Do we have extra guns?
I mean, I have a pistol and a rifle. So, I mean, I do technically have 2 guns, but he can't handle the rifle, and I'm not going to want to be without my pistol, because I'm fairly certain my skill is higher in pistols than it is rifles.
Oh. Do you have any, like, melee combat weapons or skills whatsoever?
I have melee combat blade, or I have blade combat, and I have a cutlass and a dagger.
Maybe if I can interject right now, it does look like spears fall under blade, but I'm going to check another book later on after this. For the time being, we'll use blades as kind of edged and piercing weapons.
I lied. My slug rifle skill is higher than my pistol skill.
Do you maybe want to train him how to use the pistol so that he has, because that's going to be easier to teach him how to hold a gun and probably teach him combat, like proper combat fighting styles.
Yeah, but the problem is gonna be, can he even hold it?
The pistol, it's a pistol. It shouldn't be too bad.
It's a very specific kind of pistol, though, and I'm going to look that up because you could probably make that didn't actually help me too much, because a Gauss pistol is a pistol that shoots high velocity projectiles using electromagnetic rails. And I was hoping that would tell me, like, if there was higher or lower recoil, but it looks like it's...
If it works anything like a rail gun, which is what it sounds like, there should be 0 recoil whatsoever. Because there's no reverse thrust coming off of the round, because it's all being powered by electromagnetics.
Yeah. Looks like in the book it has recoil equivalent to like an antique pistol, but it's lower than a modern revolver, lower than an auto pistol. It's a -1 on recoil. You could reasonably guess that somebody with a strength of -1 modifier could definitely wield this.
Okay, what is the question though is what is their strength? What is his strength level?
It's statistically it's probably in a -1 range. It'd be a fair guess that you could probably use it, but without any like training or anything, he might not be very great at it. You do know, however, that they seem to have very good hand-eye coordination, are very good at moving, dancing. So you could guess that maybe his dexterity's good.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna go with. Instead of giving him a pistol where he could potentially hit us with friendly fire, since they seem to be good with moving and dexterity, I'm going to give him basic training with my dagger.
Okay.
Because I figure
That's
it's
fair.
lightweight, it's bladed. Probably it'd be a lot of that combat would be based off of dexterity, so he should be able to wield it and use it relatively effectively. At least that's my thinking.
And you're talking about Ezekiel, right?
Yes, Ezekiel.
You pass off the dagger to Ezekiel, and after kind of describing how to hold it and whatnot to him, you pass it off to him, and he immediately holds it almost like somebody would hold a katana or a longsword. He uses both hands to grip the handle, and it definitely looks like there's some weight to it for him. And you can see his eyes kind of glitter and glow at looking very, very lovingly at this dagger. He holds it up as if one would hold an award that a highly esteemed like parent or superior gave them. He looks absolutely in love with it.
And I'm gonna say to Ezekiel, I expect that back after the trial of or the path of snakes.
He looks at you and says, "Absolutely, sir." All the other water people look extremely jealous, just absolutely livid and green with jealousy.
They should be.
And Freya, what are you up to over there, Freya?
Freya wanted to go to the shuttle and get his shotgun.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you are more than able to go up to a little bit past the north of the map. I'm just putting you on the edge there so we know where you are.
Yeah.
You get into the shuttle and you look in the most obvious spot and you find a shotgun with quite a few rounds. It looks like this guy's more than able to defend himself with the combat shotgun he has with its clip. It looks like he's prepared to shoot off like at least, let's see, looks like 8 rounds
Okay.
per clip.
Yeah, I'll grab it all up and I'll curious. You know what? I'll probably sleep at the shuttle. Kind of protecting it, keep an eye on it. So I'll probably call it a night since we gotta be up early to go. Well, I say be up early, but last time he didn't show up until evening. To go fight the great evil. So I'll call it a night in the shuttle.
Who do you think
You try your best to call it a night, but I sorry, as the DM, I gotta interject here. There as you're going towards the cockpit to press the closed doors, probably you see that there's a water person standing out there, looking very, very curious and scared at you.
I just want to stand there and stare at it for a second before I'll probably flip on the lights because I don't know how their warp planet works, but maybe it got dark. You did say that
it is dark, and you have the lights on.
You did say it was getting dark, so I want to flip on like the floodlights or the headlights kind of thing on the shuttle, and then I'll step outside the door and kind of look out. I'll be like, do I recognize this one? I mean, I know that I probably am not familiar with their physiology yet, but maybe.
Let me roll for you.
Okay, that's a good idea.
It doesn't look familiar to you, to be honest, but the moment he starts speaking, you recognize him completely as one of the suitors that was really passionate about you. And he begins to sing, "Oh, beautiful Freya."
Want to know, is it good singing?
It's debatable. It's not Mr. Pickles singing, of course, as we know. But he begins to sing.
Like, if they're well versed in the arts of singing, or if I think it's good.
It's kind of a bubbling, gentle singing, and it's all in your favor. So I guess it's more of if it wasn't in your favor, you'd probably give it like a C+. But since it's in your favor, you're free to give whatever benefit to that as you want. It's all about how beautiful and powerful you are, how dangerous and destructive. And wait, did we lose somebody?
We lost Wolf.
Cam off. Oh, did we lose
Well,
him
it's not
altogether?
off. It's just blacked out.
Oh, gotcha. That's why I didn't.
I'm trying to figure it out. My settings are messed up.
Oh,
We had you back for a second.
you flashed for a second.
It's all good. I just want to make sure you're still at least able to hear and whatnot.
I moved here.
Where were we?
I moved to here and see you guys.
Oh, good. Well,
Can you hear me?
you just it looks like a little dark screen for you. It's all good. I can hear you.
Okay.
Anyways, Wrath, Freya.
Yeah, I'll
What do
look
you
to this
do?
thing and I'll be like, what are you doing?
He looks at you with glowing eyes. Of course, they sparkle and glow because you're floodlighting them. But he says, I wish to marry you, Freya. I wish to be your husband, and we can go through the galaxies and gather the weapons to free our people. My love for you is as endless as the oceans on the planet. My love for you
No,
is
thanks.
as satisfying.
Just walk back in and close the doors.
The doors close successfully, although a little bit slowly, so you can see his sad face.
I'll just stand there and watch while the doors just close in front of her. She's just like, and,
Exactly.
I'll flip off the floodlights and call it a night.
All right, we jump over to our less callous people who are over just beating up water people physically, not emotionally.
Yep. Accurate.
Where were we at over here? You guys you were training training Ezekiel?
We're training Ezekiel.
That's right, and he was waving the dagger around. He seems to have a grip, and relatively speaking, he seems to have a good grasp on this dagger thing.
Okay. So I say to Ezekiel, I'm like, where do you live?
I live with my family, sir.
And where is that?
He points in the general direction of over here, pinging on the map. It's like the what is it, eastern kind of side of town. You're guessing it's probably this house. I'm still pinging. You can take as long as you want to see my ping.
Well, could me and my friend here stay the night at your place? Would you be so kind to let us into your home?
His eyes glow with excitement and glee. I would be honored if you would stay with me and my family. We have absolute wonderful accommodations. We can give you the finest of beds. I will tell my mother immediately if you give me leave of absence to prepare your accommodation, sir.
Calm down. Okay. Breathe. You can go, but we must. I love having this podcast with Lackey. It's so much fun.
He seems to have successfully calmed down at this point. And the moment you start talking again, he's probably going to get excited again. Do you allow him a leave of absence to go get his home prepared for you guys to live?
I say sure. Why not?
And I was correct. He does get so excited, and he just scrambles off running.
As he's running away, I want to call out to him and tell him that I maybe a little late because I want to check on Freya and the ship before I head over there.
I turned to BB. I turned to Okami, and I just say, I like him. I think we should keep him around. Great hype man.
Yeah, he might make a good water boy or cleaner.
Yeah, but I think we should keep him. I think we should invite him onto our ship when we leave.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, we don't have to pay him or anything. He doesn't expect payment or anything.
We'll see what happens. And with that, I'm gonna walk away and start heading towards the ship.
All right. What do you do, Luther?
I think I am going to head to Ezekiel's home and meet his family.
Right. You enter into the home, and of course you can see his face in the window, gleefully telling the family, and they're like scrambling around getting things ready. And as you enter, you can see that they have food prepared for you, even more food. You've already eaten. You're not hungry at all, but they have more food prepared for you in case you're hungry. And they have clear accommodations near the fireplace for you to sleep. And they all seem absolutely overjoyed just to have you here. Each of the family members, a total of 13 of them, are all asking you questions, not letting you really answer anything. They're just all asking questions. What is this? The outer world's like? Are there other people like us, or do you know what other monsters are? Yeah, what's the greatest adventure you've been on? How many guns do you have?
One. And then I hold my hand up and I'm like, before we begin, I want to see his reaction to this one. I just want to thank you, Ezekiel. You are truly a good friend.
His face lights up and bubbles, and he says, "Thank you, Outworlder. I hope that the accommodations will be suiting to you."
He just like, this is amazing. It's like this is like what being a famous YouTuber is like. That's out of game. This is Raph's future one day.
What?
I just
Having
want to
super
point
fans.
I just want to point out that my chosen Black Flag sea shanty kind of makes me think of our patron, what we would do with the drunken sailor. It didn't even click in my head until after I posted it, and I was just like, that's about how I feel about what Michael is his name.
Michael's his name. Wear it out.
So while Luther's kind of getting acquainted with the people and interacting with them and getting to talk with all of them and being fed forcibly, no, not forcibly. They're very understanding. We'll jump over to Okami, who's walking in the village square. There's still people dancing and enjoying the celebration, but it's definitely starting to die down like by 10%.
I'm just going to ignore them and proceed past them, continuing on my way to the ship.
You make your way to the ship successfully. Nobody attempts to stop you. There are no fights that occur. No bandits attack you in cold blood, and nobody attempts to, sacrifice you to a dark god. That doesn't happen at all. You make your way to the spaceship, and it's locked.
Seeing that the doors are closed, I'm going to use my comm to patch into the ship speakers, the PA system, and I'm gonna say, Freya, are you in there? I'm outside the ship. Open up.
You're successfully able to do that.
Question: if the ship is playing music, the comms probably override music, right? I mean, you'd have to be able to communicate. With each
Yes,
other,
by
so.
default.
Yeah, I would figure. Okay.
Yeah. You can change that in the settings, though. If you go to the settings on your spaceship.
Yeah, like escape and then game settings. Yeah. What is it?
Yeah,
like
you're more than
gameplay,
able
or
to
is it-
change.
Oh, audio. I see. Audio.
Yeah.
Game audio, voice. Okay, let's turn that one all the way down.
Exactly.
No. All right,
exactly. You can do that, but just when it rings across, you hear him very clearly.
I won't say anything, and I'll wait a good 2 minutes for the song to finish. And once the song, because it like stopped while he did his audio transmission, and then once he stopped doing his audio transmission, the music kicked back on. And I'll finish out the song, and then I'll get up and I'll go over and I'll hit the buzzer and the door opens, and I'll probably be standing there in probably like sleeping gear, so maybe like my pants and then just like a sports bra on, stand there, and she's just like, "What?"
I just pictured Wrath wearing a sports bra.
Let's
What's
keep the audience from getting too turned up.
excited.
Let's
Oh,
calm down, guys.
I almost broke my jacket doing that.
So I'm gonna
Ooh.
walk up the.
Why did I type that?
I'm assuming there's
Why did
like an airplane.
Why did I type that in chat? Like I couldn't talk to y'all.
Just like fan art. Somebody draw it.
I forgot that I could talk to y'all.
All right, what'd you say, Wing?
I'm gonna assume that the shuttle has like airplane style steps that come down from the hatch. So I'm gonna walk up the steps to the shuttle, and I'm gonna look at Freya and go, Luther's staying with one of the locals. I didn't feel like dealing with that shit, and just walk past her and go to my stateroom. Once
I don't think there'd be a stateroom on this shuttle.
Cabin, stateroom. It's like a ship.
Okay, Mr. Pickles.
The shuttle? Isn't it
It's-
just like
it's a
cockpit
shuttle.
and then the...
I forgot it's a shuttle, not the ship.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the equivalent of like a helicopter with quite a bit more room for seating. There's bunks that pull out that apparently the captain has installed. So you can make a bunk. It's not beautiful or super comfortable, but it's adequate, and it's not going to give you penalties.
You see, there's already a bunk, and like some of Freya's clothes are just like draped over the side of it, and there's probably one of his bottles sitting in it. She'll jump back up on the
his bottles or one of Freya's bottles.
She's broke. One of his bottles.
Yeah,
She'll jump back up on the bunk and take a swig, and then toss it over to you. She goes, I don't know about you, dog people. What do you call yourselves? What is it? What is your race?
Barter is what my people are called.
Say that one more time.
Barter.
Barter? Is that right? Or Varger?
Burger.
Burger. Burger.
I'll type it out for you so you can see the spelling.
No, you got it. She goes, you guys drink, you Vargers.
Not most of my people, but my time in the military changed that for me.
VVG, are you talking about a VARGR? Is that what you are? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like Varger.
You just say you don't like them?
Mm-mm. My character does not like them.
Interesting. You've just been traveling around with one this whole time, and you're like, you're like in your bed at this person's house. You're like, wait a second. Okami's a Varger. It like clicks. You're like, oh shit. I feel like at this point, Freya and Okami will probably just spend the night, drinking, shooting the shit, kind of talking about like war stories and random shit as they just kind of get drunk and pass out.
Well, just for clerical reasonings, Mr. Pickles, you're putting down tick marks for every time that we use a skill. So
More or less, yes.
So technically, if I change out of my combat armor to sleep and then put it back on in the morning, that would be another thing.
Let me clarify. I do not dislike them. I just don't trust them.
Well, that's fair for you, Wolfie. As for Okami, I would give you a tick more or less for I would give you a tick for each kind of day that you're spending in like casual, not like intention or intense like combat or anything. But for each combat or like each encounter where you practice, like let's say you had like a cliff that you had to jump over and you try to jump over it or climb a cliff or something, I would give you a tick for that. So it's encounters and by day, I would give you ticks. Sleeping in it, I probably wouldn't give you any bonus. But
well, because I'm thinking about it, like I wouldn't want to go to bed wearing combat armor, so I would take it off, change into something else, and then sleep and put it back on in the morning. But you answered my question, so since it's by day, I would get another tick mark for it. So I'm gonna before Freya and I start getting trashed on our patrons, probably very expensive liquor, I'm going to change out of I'm going to take a swig because she threw me the bottle. I'm going to toss it back to her and change out of my combat armor.
Do I trust Okami? Like, I do imagine what Raph said, like me just sitting in the bed and just being like, wait.
He's a Vargur.
Wait a second.
What's your intelligence again?
Has he been a Vargur this entire time?
So the
11.
The really smart guy. It just went right over his head that I'm a Vargur.
Oh shit.
So, do I trust Okami? I trusted him a lot. This meeting.
Based on your answer and of the intelligence, I would guess that you reasonably can tell that he's probably not intent on killing you, and that's mostly just you haven't seen him threaten you in any way that's serious at all. However, if you are inclined to not trust Vargurs, again, that's up to you. Your intelligence may actually serve in disfavor here, wherein you feel paranoid about these Vargurs because you're convinced that you know that they're a problem.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
You can basically play it as your intelligence goes, okay, I can tell that he's not going to kill me, or, oh shit, I know that they're bad people. He's probably going to try to kill me.
I think I trust Okami, but like other Vargur, I don't particularly trust. Because I don't know if you actually saw it, but I did make the character thing, like you said, the enemy thing.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'll double check that after the game. That's awesome. Let's see. So more or less we have, and I would like to clarify, it is extremely expensive liquor. Like the bottle itself is cheap. It's like somebody took the cheapest alcohol bottle and poured extremely expensive alcohol into it. Like it's some kind of flask or something, the cheap bottle. And so the brand that it says on it is definitely not the brand of the alcohol. That's a cute, your dog's cute.
So it's like somebody took E&J brandy, which you can buy for like $12, and put like $1,000 scotch in it.
Yes, exactly like that. It is extremely delicious, super smooth, and you guys have a very pleasant drift off into sleep. And over for Wolfie, you're more than able to enjoy the company, and they give you drink and whatnot, which is not as high quality, but is still quite flavorful. And you're able. Oh, go for it.
I won't be able to be on for a bit longer than I thought, so we're good.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just saying I would be able to stay on later than I'm going to stay on later than I was earlier.
Yes,
oh, cool.
Longer than he originally intended.
Because my computer's
Good to know.
My computer's in the guest bedroom, and I have a grandparents staying in town, so I didn't want to force them to stay awake if they want to go to bed.
Gotcha.
But since they're
Gotcha.
Since they're not even in bed yet, I'm doing that. wait until they decide to lay down and turn off the lights and stuff, and then I'll exit out. Is that okay with y'all?
That's cool.
This
Man.
is,
Yeah, we have about 37 more minutes tops on my clock.
They're staying until next Saturday, so next game I'll be completely good.
All right, keep
Sounds
going.
good. All right, so Okami and Freya are more than able to fall asleep. You guys drift off into sleep very pleasantly with your expensive liquor, and Luther is able to relax with the safety of all of those people around him, and sleeping in their own rooms. But you have a very comfortable sleep right next to the fire. It's extremely warm and kind of drifts you off into sleep rather rapidly. The first person to awake, of course, in this scenario would be Wolfie here with playing Luther. Luther wakes up, and the family's making food for you. In fact, the moment you wake up is kind of food drifted, the scent drifted across your nose, and you woke up to the smell of fried bread. It looks like some bread with jam and butter and all sorts of whatnot. I presume you partake in the breakfast and the merriment of all of the water people around you.
Of course. And then I sit right next to Ezekiel, and I tell him how appreciative I am.
Ezekiel seems to take great honor in this, nodding towards you, and says to his mother and father, "We are going down to the path of snakes today. The Outworlders have chosen me to go with them." The mother and the father, of course, give extremely shocked expressions and go, "No, Ezekiel, do you believe you are powerful enough and strong enough to survive?" Ezekiel looks in concern towards you as if you have the answer here, Luther.
We have trained him well, and I believe I can protect him if anything too bad happens.
Luther turns back to his parents and nods triumphantly in your confidence. His parents look at you, look at him, and say, "Well, Ezekiel, we cannot stop the Outworlders from choosing your destiny and for acknowledging your great strength. We're very proud of you, son." Do you do anything more, or did you want to more or less finish out your breakfast with small talk and?
Yeah, there's one more thing I want to do. So I take Ezekiel and I carry him to a corner so that no one else is around me, right? And I'm like, when we're done with this quest and we've saved your people, I want to know if you would like to join me in exploring the galaxy.
We're gonna be going to bed.
Okay.
I love your grandparents or parents, whoever they are. They
All of them.
that made me feel
I love all of them.
made me feel so much love.
Yeah. So what does he say?
Sorry, I got lost there for a second. You took him outside and you told him this, and he said, if I survive the path of snakes, I'll give you my answer.
Okay.
At this point, our fellow cohorts, Freya and Okami, the drunken duo, wake up, not drunk at all. You guys had a very pleasant sleep, but you're kind of hungry as you guys wake up in your shuttle. What do you guys do?
I'll get dressed and
Can y'all see me
sound.
still? Or no?
You're kind of flashing in and then going back out.
I'll do.
Like like I'm seeing you for like split seconds, and then you're.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. Maybe it'll just fix itself by next game.
Hopefully.
I put your
It's all good.
character
I could-
image up on screen anyway, so you're good for now.
Yeah, I can hear you, and you sound good enough to me, so that's all I need.
Yeah.
But back to our duo. What do you guys get dressed and everything? You're dressed. If you want to put on combat armor,
That's what I'm doing.
all right, awesome.
getting dressed
You got your combat armor.
I don't
Absolutely.
wait for him. I have
Well, it takes about the same amount of time. He's able to get on his clothes and his combat armor, and you got your clothes on and everything, and you're both ready at the same time here.
Just because
This
I'm a
doesn't-
woman doesn't mean that it takes me long to get ready.
Hey, you don't have makeup.
Combat armor is designed to be put on quickly.
Fine. I head out the door.
All
I'm
right, you
gonna
guys are both outside
follow
of the
Freya out
shuttle.
the door.
All right.
And into town.
Both of you going into town?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Oh my gosh, nope. I stretch you. Oh my gosh, let's get our limbs back together. Oh no. No, we're good. You guys are in town, and it's at this point you guys kind of walk into town and you see the normal life to this town, because last night was clearly abnormal. They don't celebrate like that every day, and you guys can kind of see everybody walking around, getting up to their daily life. From a distance, you can see them talking amongst one another. People are passing goods to each other, talking, and probably planning whatever things they need to do. You see several of them with wooden implements. It seems like everybody has tools in this town, but the tools are made from stone or wood, depending on what is more appropriate. There's almost no metal, except for a few chunks of metal here and there. And the metal it seems to be held in high esteem. It's like you see a group of people with axes. Most of them have wood, and then like the most impressive looking one, the most well dressed, has an axe made of steel, or iron, or bronze, or some copper, some kind of metal. The metals, in fact, seem to be the badge of honor in this town. But the closer you get to the town, and the closer you get to people themselves, they change their demeanor immediately, and they go back into that excited happiness that they had when you guys arrived. And several of them do come up to you and say, thank you so much, Outworlders, for coming and protecting us. We so greatly appreciate your existence here. Is there anything we could do for you to make your stay more comfortable?
I need a bite. You got food?
Yeah. I was gonna say we're taking on the path of snakes. We require food before we set out on our journey.
They gesture, and several of the people who had food charge out to you with fruits and whatnot. In fact, it's almost completely these kind of spiky fruits that they have that they gesture on to you, holding out to you. A couple of them bring out some fried bread with various butter and jam on it, but the majority of them are passing you these spiky fruits.
So I'm gonna take some of that, some of the bread and some of the fruit, and say to Freya, "Do you want to eat on the way to find Luther?"
Yeah, Freya will just continue walking and eating. What is this path of snakes? I thought we were here to take on the great evil, as they say. You guys volunteer for?
The locals that Luther decided he wanted to train said that they wouldn't trust us to train them unless we were able to pass through this path of snakes. They don't think that we'll be able to defeat the great evil. This is what we have to do to prove to them that we're capable.
Alright, so great path of snakes and then great evil. Yeah?
Path of snakes and then great evil.
Get Luther.
It's at this point that Luther and Ezekiel have kind of wandered about. Ezekiel has been pulling Luther in the direction. You guys have all kind of made your way together in the center of town, and it's at this point that you've converged in the center of town. Yeah, you've got food. You're all full. You're ready. What do you do?
I go find the people who were not impressed with us because they said they would like to come with us.
Where do you go to find them? And do you ask your cohorts to go with you?
I ask Ezekiel where they stay, and then based on that, I go searching for them. And I ask them if they want to come along, or they're just listening while I find them.
All right. We'll say then that you and Ezekiel had kind of gone off. If you're on the map.
Well, hold on.
Oh yeah.
As he's having this conversation with Ezekiel, I want to say to Freya, do you think it'd be a good idea to give him the comm so that we can stay in contact?
Have another one.
No, I meant yours. The one that you have, since I have my neural implant. Since we're separating.
I'm confused. Oh, and then we're gonna meet up at the path or something, or?
Meet up at the path or meet up back here once he finds them. Just at least this way we can stay in contact with him.
So flip it off her hip and then flip it around in your hand. Pass it over to Luther.
All right. In this case, you pass it off to Luther, and Luther kind of walked off, heading in that direction. Ezekiel in tow. Did you guys follow him in this case, or did you want to do something else?
I figured since he didn't ask us to go with him, and I'm not a very social person,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of hang out where we're at and enjoy the hero worship of all these people walking past me.
All right. Wrath?
I probably just try and thing is I'm not social. I definitely think that, man, I have ideas and I have goals. I'm just trying to think of how I want to pursue going forward. I want to I guess I'd try and find out more about the great evil, maybe try and get some more tips and tricks on him, like where we can find him and stuff like that, or it, or whatever. Other encounters that they've had with this thing, trying to figure out, weaknesses, what it attacks with, if it attacks, if it's a rock and they're all scared of it.
Yeah, roll a persuade for me.
I have some really good ideas, but I need to wait. I'll send you a whole rundown, Mr. Pickles, after the game.
Oh, I'd love it.
You wanted me to roll persuade, yeah?
Yeah, persuade. And I'm gonna while you're rolling that, and I'll remember what you rolled. We're gonna jump over to Wolfie as Luther.
I'm sorry. Is it social?
Yes.
Okay, you're good. Go for it.
That's fair. That's always good to ask, just to make sure. All right, so. To the message you just sent me, Wolfie. Yeah, definitely. We'll probably be doing that in just a moment. Luther makes it down to the area where you remember them being, and where Ezekiel kind of drags you off to, and he says, "I don't know if they'll be agreeable to you." And you go to the back area, and you see that they are all there, all four of them. There's the guy who is rather gregarious and fought against you. There's the two that were kind of laughing at you, and there's the fourth one, who you remember. He was there during the initial part of the fight, but then he kind of wandered back into the building, kind of wandered away. You notice him there. He seems to have the focal point, and he was saying something right as you entered, and stopped immediately. The moment you entered kind of the backyard area within hearing distance, he stopped talking and looked directly at you. The others didn't really pick up on that, and they said, "No, dude, no. You can't just end the story like that, man. Zacharias, you got to tell us the ending." What? And they all suddenly turn around and look at the Outworlder and Ezekiel.
And I asked them if they're ready.
What's that?
I asked them if they're all ready to go.
They all nod at you. Yeah, so we're ready to go. Are you, Outworlder?
One more question. What was the one that stopped talking and turned away? His name again?
Jackson, how much longer are you gonna be on here?
5 minutes.
5 more minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 5 minutes most.
Yeah.
What's his name?
You didn't get the name of the one that fought you. If that's the question you're asking.
What's the one that they said his name? He stopped when I came in mid sentence.
Zacharias.
I call it to Zacharias and I'm like, "What's your deal?"
He says, "I'm a believer. I'm one of the true believers in the way of the Outworlder. I was one of the few that he dragged to the tree of eternal power."
Why did you leave when we started fighting and stop talking when I came?
The others also kind of glare, and the one who fought you said, "Yeah, you know what, Zacharias? Why? You know, I thought you were all about us being strong and fighting back against the powers." And Zacharias says, "It's because it's not the way. Our God is about to be freed from his prison, and I believe that our God will come to us himself. There's no need to deal with these outworlders. In truth, they may be helpful in the short run, but in the long run, these outworlders mean nothing compared to our true God."
And I just kind of shake my shoulders like, all right, as long as you don't run away during a fight, we're actually in trouble. I'm fine with that.
He nods. And it's actually at this point, I think it might be a good point to wrap things up a little bit. Get to our outros, get Wolfie where he needs to be. You guys have kind of successfully gathered information about this society. I hope that you guys have, more or less gathered, what they are, who they are. And you have your goal, that you have this very, very abstract path of snakes, quotes, and this ultimate evil, end quotes, on them. And I don't know. You guys have quite a bit, and next game you will be running right into the most dangerous part of this campaign so far.
Pickles, how do you spell Zachariah?
Let me type that out for you. And while I'm typing that, I believe this is time to go to Wrath to start off our outros.
Yeah, so, what's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. Today we did Season 1, Episode 2.